You're listening to the Tumbling Saber Podcast, a member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. Check us out on the web at starwarscommonwealth.com, on iTunes, Facebook, and Twitter, and take your first step into a larger world. Ever closer to the 100 episode mark. It's episode 95 today. My name's Kyle.
And I'm Corey.
All right, welcome back, folks. It's been a heck of a week here at Tumbling Saber. A pretty big week for us. So right off the hop, I want to thank Brandon, Mark, Neil, Dan Solo, and MC Big Wicket, Rob Wade for becoming powerful friends. And I also just want to extend a quick congrats once again to Mark, Matt, and Steve for winning our Luke figure on our giveaway. And Corey, I think we decided that Sabine Wren's next, Black Series?
Yeah, I thought it made sense. I mean, I'm looking at everything we have, like, quite the treasure trove stocked up now. So I looked at it and I was like, yeah, man, Mandalorian arc coming up right around the corner with Rebels. So I thought it made sense.
I do think that makes sense.
And again, it's such a beautiful figure.
It is. It was one of those figures I really, really badly wanted to have. And it's worth it. It's a really great figure. So looking forward to giving that out at the end of this month. All right, so let's quickly catch up here, Corey. It's been a while since we've spoken. How was your weekend?
Everything's been good. You know, just continuing. Kind of that the summer's dwindling now. We had that heat wave, but it broke, and still now it's fall weather and it's nice and whatever. We had a party next door for my neighbor, 2-year-old, whatever. Anyhow. Yeah, it was. It turned out to be quite the party by the end.
I'm guessing you're talking about it was a party for grown-ups at that point.
Yeah, I Frank the Tanked it.
I'm sure everybody is completely shocked by that revelation.
No, dude, I wanted to go home at a pretty decent hour, but everyone's like, "No, you can't go." It's like, okay.
Yeah. I'm sure you put up a huge fight.
Whatever. Other than that, it was fun, and I did manage to step out on Saturday morning with my neighbor. Actually, we had to pick up some stuff for his son's party, so I said, give me 2 minutes. I'm headed over to the toy section of the Honey Hole, and lo and behold, I found some pretty sweet stuff again, but I'm not going to be able to disclose what, because that wasn't for me. I bought myself some Marvel stuff, which is kind of cool. But,
so what'd you buy me?
I bought you some gifts for our powerful friends.
Oh, that's good enough.
Oh, yeah. Dude, these are sweet. Again, it's like when you see something and you just know, man, it's like the time is now. Like you have to do it. Like you have to spring when you see something, you know?
Or you just cave into your impulses.
What do you mean?
Never mind. So, just Marvel stuff for you this week? No Star Wars goodies?
No, I had a peek. Nothing there. I mean, the pegs have been pillaged, really. Carlos, hit me up. I found a 3 3/4 Poe Dameron Black Series.
Nice. Yeah, we gotta be Carlos's eyes and ears.
$9.97.
$9.97. So anyway, okay, so on the topic of collecting, mine's going to be a reverse collecting update as I'm dumping a few of my Star Wars items into a charity basket. So I went through a couple things, and it turns out I have a couple of duplicate action figures kicking around. So those are going to go find a new home via a charity basket to our guy who runs a comic book shop in Ontario.
The fantasy realm.
Yeah, he's putting together a Star Wars charity basket, so I'm going to be more than happy to contribute to that. So I've got 3 or 4 things, at least. I need to go digging a bit more in my collection here and throw some more stuff in the basket for him.
That's awesome. Good job, Kyle.
Yeah, not bad, huh? So still, on the topic of sharing. So again, I won another giveaway via the TSW VIP program, which is bonkers when you consider the percentages of that happening.
Yeah, how convenient.
Hey, man. I don't know how that keeps happening, but
That's the wills of the force. You guys, it's like the laws of attraction. You guys created the Commonwealth, so it's all coming back around like karma right now. X-Wing Luke, bastard.
Yeah, no, I've been very, very fortunate. So again, thank you, Mark, for treating me so well. But here's what I'm gonna do. So the prize up this month was A Certain Point of View novel. So that's on its way to me very soon. Now I tried to have Mark redraw, but fair is fair, and so whatever happens to the book now is sort of my call. So what I want to do with the book is let the Star Wars Commonwealth at large, our powerful friends, the TSW VIP community. There's a ton of overlap there. These are all good friends of ours now. So what I want to do with this book is sort of like I'll receive it. I'm going to flip through it because I'm going to buy my own copy anyway. It's a great cause, so I'm more than happy to plunk down the money for my own copy. But when I receive this other one, what I want to do is, I'll read a story or two, and I'll flip through it, and then what I would like to do is kind of mail it off to another member of the Commonwealth. So my dream for this living, breathing, no, just this, it's this living, breathing piece of the Commonwealth that will travel the world. So whoever receives it, whoever wants to receive it, I suppose whoever wants to take part can let us know. But everybody signs this thing, and then make a note in the book, mark up the book, write some wherever you read a passage in the book that sticks out to you, or you think someone else in the Commonwealth would find it funny, circle it, and then over time, I think this book could really come to be something neat for our tiny group here, our tiny but growing group. So I don't know. What do you think?
I like that idea. Kind of reminds me of that pirate ship. Oh, what's the name of it? The one that's a legend that like just sailed the seas unmanned for like 250 years.
Really?
It's a legend. It's a myth. I hope.
Yeah, that seems to be rather impossible. But
yeah, but this could be like that. It should never come home. It should just constantly be on the road.
Well, yeah, that's kind of my hope for it, is that enough people. I mean, at some point, this book, it'll be 3-4 years down the line. This book will be totally old news, and at that point, who will care? But one can dream.
Well, definitely be a nice keepsake for anyone that's big on the Commonwealth.
Like at some point, it's going to land, and somebody's going to be like, "Dude, I've had it. Like I don't need it back." So someone is going to pull up the rear and have to hang on to this thing, or send it back to me, or for safekeeping. But yeah, I think at the end, this thing could be signed up by all the members of our community, or as many as we can get, and look sort of like a school yearbook.
Yeah, I'll take a picture of you wearing like a leather glove, caressing it at the end, in like the sunlight and stuff.
So there you go. So anyway, I guess we'll talk more about this once it gets underway. But I think definitely you and I need to sign this thing, and whoever else wants to take part. Yeah. Well,
that's kind of big. I like it. It's exciting.
Yeah,
it's a different idea.
I think it's a way to share it with everybody, and have this cool little keepsake of the Commonwealth floating around out there. Anyway, more on that as time goes on. So, Corey, this week, did you see that picture of Millie Bobby Brown? What was that? Is that Interview Magazine or whatever magazine it was?
Yep.
Jeez. In the same pose as that famous Leia shot from 77?
Yeah, of course.
Man, so considering the rumbling in parts of fandom and wanting her to take on that role as a younger Leia, like, that can't be a coincidence that they put that post together, right?
No, of course. It's interesting when you say it like that, because that's the first thing in my show notes is basically that obviously a lot of people are looking or paying attention to this, and some people, they got their ears to the ground on fandom of certain things, and someone picked up on it.
Yeah, somebody's paying attention over there. Somebody, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. I don't think it's a coincidence, but I also don't think it means anything.
Nor do I.
They're just teasing us, right?
Yes, but now in the back of my mind, it's kind of like, maybe a bit of foreshadowing, like there's a 5% chance foreshadowing. But it also plays into, I don't know if anyone has seen this, but if you haven't, check it out because it's really cool. But the Stranger Things season 2, they did a series of posters that are reminiscent of old like sci-fi, paranormal, horror films, and they had a certain flavor. Those covers for on your VHS, or those posters. Anyhow, they were almost like painted in a way, and anyhow, they're really really well done. It's
fabulous work. They're so good.
So this kind of plays into that theme as well a bit, I guess. 70s and 80s, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
But the similarity, and God, she looks stunning. It was great.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think anybody doubts that she could absolutely nail Leia. Do you think anybody would complain? Like, I think this actor, Millie Bobby Brown, is already so well liked that if she was eventually cast as a young Leia, people would be like, yeah, this is amazing. Like, this is a great day for Star Wars.
It's interesting because I was thinking exactly the same thing, in the sense that, standalone films, what can they do moving forward? Most people think we got a Boba Fett film and a Kenobi film, like, all lined up, ready to go. But in reality, like, she's going to be coming of age in the next, 5 to 10 years. She can still play that character. A lot of people are older and play younger characters. But either way, she's coming right into that perfect age, and a Leia standalone film makes a lot of sense to me because she's done a lot. You get a taste for it in Rebels with the hammerheads and all that, which are seen again in Rogue One, so that kind of came full circle, which is great. And I mean, she's just done so much behind the scenes. It would be really cool to see more.
More. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how exciting you could make a Leia standalone movie at that point of her life. Like, she was we just got the Leia novel, right? And it was just her getting her feet wet with the rebellion, yada yada yada. So really, what can you do? That would be a really tough trick to pull off. Like, it'd almost feel like shoehorning, just because. But
maybe it can lead into Rogue One.
Yeah, maybe, but yeah, she's still very young, Millie Bobby Brown. Like, so she could really age into this role, and it's maybe something you only do like 15 years from now, or more.
Well, it said 15 years would put her smack dab, kind of 15 years. She's 13, so like, well, it put her after Jedi, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, this would put her like squarely into the post-Jedi years.
Well,
if they want to wait that long to do something. But then, yeah.
I see adolescence as the best way to exploit her story, really, to sell on the main screen anyhow, on the big screen.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Because you'd be lacking like a lot of the big tentpoles from the Star Wars universe. There'd be very little about the Force. There'd be nothing about the Jedi. There'd be like this would be a very political movie.
Well, you can also kind of find out like why Leia is the way she is, why she's so strong, why she's so resilient. Like there's plenty of opportunity to build that character even more behind the scenes as a child of a king or senator,
Viceroy.
like Viceroy. Sorry, but
come on,
sorry, Mara, but you'd think someone like that would be spoiled, but no, she's the complete opposite. Kind of, she's smart. Well, you kind of get she's a bit touchy, rough on the edges at times, but that's all built into her character because she senses all the bullshit in the galaxy,
Yeah, but at that point, you're kind of talking about just adapting the Princess Leia novel to the big screen, because all those things you were talking about, Leia's resilience and resourcefulness, they're kind of all on display in that book. So that's why I question whether or not they put that Leia on a big screen, or even in a TV series. Like, it's been kind of captured. Though I would like to see it. I'm not going to complain about it.
Even at that, though, it's still questionable that they'll even ever go down that route. Still seeing, everything that happened with Carrie Fisher. That's pretty. I don't know. To me, it might be like retiring a jersey You know what I mean?
Yeah, just like we're never revisiting this character.
Pretty much. Like that's it, you know?
I don't know, I'd never say never, but yeah, you might have a point. Anyway, I thought I saw that cover and I was like, come on, really? What are you doing to us?
That was cool. I loved it.
Yeah, well, you know what? If it might be one of those
Obviously,
magazines you might want to just snag if you see it on the rack one day, just in case it turns out that she does pick up that role one day and that becomes, like you said, like that a really famous foreshadowy picture.
that would be kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, I think if I do see it on a magazine stand, I will probably pick it up. You put that idea in my head now.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so moving on here. Star Wars Newsnet confirming the October 9th The Last Jedi trailer release. That's just really a week from now. So if they're right, Mark Hamill was right after all. So, Corey, are we a week away from The Last Jedi trailer?
A little bit.
Well, we talked about it last, right? Like him deleting that tweet has to be more than just this is just, I didn't mean to ruffle any feathers, so I'm going to just get rid of the tweet. Nah, you may have messed up, Mark.
No, it's true. I mean, there was definitely something fishy about that. There didn't really, it's unlike Mark Hamill, kind of. It's so funny though. It's like, I don't know if he had like who. Obviously, Lucasfilm told him like, "Hey, bro, what are you doing?" All right. He's like, hey, I'm Luke Skywalker. God damn it.
Well, there's my question to Lucasfilm. Why are you telling him? Like, I'm sure there's other ways for Mark Hamill to find out. He is Mark Hamill. He's royalty. But if you're Lucasfilm, like, just don't tell him. I'm just assuming that somebody with knowledge at Lucasfilm told him October 9th. But I'm going to guess that for Episode 9, they may not tell him anything. He's got that hashtag he likes to use about loose lips sinking ships and stuff like that. Well, Mark. So anyway, no word on if tickets are going to go on sale at the same time as the trailer.
I'm sure it's going to happen sometime in November.
Yeah, I mean, for The Force Awakens, they went on sale in October. And then with Rogue One, it was in November. Either way, I'm going to be probably staying up until midnight, burning my eyes out with fatigue. But hey, do what you got to do, right?
But even at that, like, touching back, I had a quick question for you. Star Wars Newsnet, we know they're a very reliable source. But even in this article, they're kind of saying, well, this is a really reliable source for us that we're getting the information from. So it's not like Lucasfilm has officially disclosed this information yet.
No, that's why I said Star Wars Newsnet is confirming.
No, but like, my question is to you, when The Force Awakens came out, and I think they did the same thing with, they did do the same thing with Rogue One during the Olympics. I mean, there was some hype around that. There was an announcement saying the trailer will be aired on said date for Star Wars during this show, during Monday Night Football, or sometime during the Olympics. Now, how long beforehand did they give themselves? Was it like a week, 2 weeks? Did we know officially from Lucasfilm?
I don't remember. Disney? But yeah, we got to keep our ears up this week. I mean, they could do something as soon as tomorrow. Sorry. Right now is Sunday.
What's it like when this drops? We're gonna be 6 days out from the supposed trailer date.
Yes,
and I would think at that point it should be announced. I would hope officially.
Yeah, so places to look would be like Monday Night Football,
anything ABC,
anything on ABC, Good Morning America, and Monday Night Football. That might be the two places where they announce that the trailer would air October 9th. But anyway, once the news drops, we're all going to know about it and go crazy. But
it looks like that's the case, because it also makes sense. I mean, we had said Rebels comes out on the following Monday, on the 16th of October. Do they want to double up? Why not just own the month?
Yeah. Like we first October 16th, it's just gonna be this crazy day of the trailer, and Rebels comes back, and oh my god, it's gonna be the best. Well, if you take 2 steps back and just look at it for a second, whoa, that's a little much, because everything is gonna happen in like the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock hour. Like halftime for Monday Night Football would pretty much fall right during when Rebels is on. So you're going to have people watching Rebels and then stop and go jump over to ABC to watch Monday Night Football for 2 minutes and then jump back over to Rebels.
Oh, yeah. Picture that. It'd be pandemonium. I see buildings burning, people's heads spinning.
Yeah, it's a bit much. You're kind of cannibalizing yourself at that point. You want people talking about Rebels on the 16th, right?
Oh, yeah. And like I said, we're going to be coming fresh off the trailer, and it's kind of a way to hook people into Rebels as well. Like, right? Like, oh, wow, new trailer for Star Wars. Oh, what's this? They have an animated show? I never heard of that. Holy shit, it looks pretty good.
I don't know. You think they're trying to hook people at this point? It seems to me like they're racing to the finish line with Rebels, doubling up on episode releases. It seems like they just want to get this done.
True, but I mean, like I said, it's all coming together at the same time. All the paths are coming together. So I don't know. I mean, it's worth a shot, right? You know, you drop the Last Jedi trailer and then maybe a Rebels trailer somewhere in there too, and maybe not a trailer, but a commercial for Rebels, and you probably snag a few 100,000 maybe people.
No,
well,
I'm not even sure a few 100,000 people watch Rebels. Period.
What? Are you kidding?
I'd like to see the numbers.
Dude, I'm about to hang up this call.
I would like to see the numbers on Rebels.
Well, I definitely think there's definitely millions of people who watch. Come on, get a hold of yourself. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, bro. The amount of hype behind this machine that is Rebels, Kyle. It's Star Wars.
I don't know. It could be wrong with you. I could be wrong. It could be millions of people. I don't know. But they're certainly not going to hook in hundreds of thousands of people.
Maybe not hundreds of thousands, but, maybe, when it's global like that, who knows, 10,000. Even that's a drop in the bucket for 8 billion, 9 billion people on Earth.
All right, let's move ahead here.
Yeah.
October 9th. It seems to be the day. Whether or not Lucasfilm has confirmed, I'm gonna take Star Wars Newsnet at their word. I'm gonna go with it. October 9th. It's got to be the day.
Are you ready for some football?
I'm always ready for football.
Yeah, Monday Night Football.
Although I'm very disappointed right now. I kind of don't want to talk about football at all right now, to be honest with you.
Did your Dolphins not do good today, Kyle?
You shut your filthy mouth.
Did your Dolphins...
Actually, you know what? Our friends over in the UK got a taste of the agony, the mediocrity, the absolute rottenness that are the Miami Dolphins. Actually, you know what? I had a quick little popover today with one Mr. Carlos Candido, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's 20-0. What? Yeah, it's already 20-0. Dolphins are down. Second week in a row." I was like, they're playing now? This was before 1 p.m., which is when most football kicks off. I said, no, they're in London today. Oh, no. So, yeah, the Dolphins actually got shut out. It's not easy to get shut out in football. You have to be really bad to get shut out in American football. There's so many ways to score points.
Hang on. Can you say that again?
No, I can't. I don't want to talk about the Dolphins anymore. Bradley, you can't laugh at me. Stop it.
You can, Bradley. Loud and proud.
Pipe down there, okay? Who's your team? Do you even have one?
Yeah, it's weird. I go back and forth between, well, not back and forth, but I like the Bears and Green Bay.
Well, geez. The Bears.
They're
even worse than the Dolphins. And Green Bay. Well, geez, you dug deep. You really went with the underdog on that one.
It's okay. I remember. Yeah, so it's all because of SNL, anyhow.
Yeah, I guess it's their fault, right? Okay. Anyway, back on Star Wars. Let's get back on track here. So, Donald Gleason, echoing what many other cast members saying, that this movie is going to be really different from what we're expecting. So he read the script of The Last Jedi, And so he went over. And actually, he was speaking with Collider about this new movie he's got with Tom Cruise. But of course, they talked Star Wars. And he told Collider that when I read it, I needed to talk to him being Rian Johnson. And I think that's always a good sign. I was like, wow, there's some stuff in there which is kind of not scary, but different to what I expected. And to him, it's a really, really nice thing. He thought it was a positive thing and all that stuff. And he went on to repeat that these movies don't keep sort of repeating themselves. And again, right? Like, even another cast member saying, like, going and questioning Rian Johnson, saying, what is going on here? Like, is this just something that Star Wars is such a formula that everybody has this idea of, like, this romanticized idea of what Star Wars is, and then when you get something different, it's like a cinder block in the head? Or is this movie really going to be completely whack?
Well, I have a feeling it's going to be completely whack. I think the first person we heard talk about it was John Boyega. And he said the film was dark, I believe. And he kind of retracted. Like, everyone's kind of stepped back from their comments on this, you know? There have been like you said, all have been very verbal at the beginning. Mark Hamill, Daisy Ridley. Yeah, man, it definitely means something. It means that something's going to... The carpet's coming out from under us, you know what I mean? Like, something's not going to make all that much sense. And it doesn't for them because, look, they got the script to the first film. They were a part of it. They filmed it. And they obviously had their own idea as to where this film was probably going to go. So when all these characters read this stuff, they're like, whoa, like, this is intense. Like, are you sure? It's almost as if Domhnall Gleeson here is saying that, like, almost like, are you sure you want to do this, Ryan? Like, this is really drastic. And he was so confident about it that it just, like, said, you know what? You're right. Like, I'm on board, man.
Well, there's something to be said about a director/writer who is like, no, this is it, man. Like, this is the long game. We got to play with this and just go with it. It's gonna work out. Like, I'm glad to hear that he's super confident in what he's doing. But man, I can't. Okay, so granted, we haven't seen much of this movie, but nothing we've seen looks weird, right? Except for these caretakers.
No, it seems a bit darker. Well, we know the only weird aspect to me here is we got the Snoke, this unknown character. We don't know exactly who he is, what his motives are, who he is, where he comes from. He's pretty creepy with those gold robes and all that disfigurement. Then we also, you know, Luke's character, Act 2 within the equation, being the first Jedi Temple. Lots of chance for mystery and stuff here, revelations, but the fact of the matter really is, to me, it's like, why is everyone saying this? Like, what's going on? So really what it seems like is it's either going to have to do with a certain character that's like, this is shocking. Like, are you sure you want to do this? Or it's going to be very closed, like, weaving within, like, the Force. Like, it's going to have to be something that just, it's bombshell. Like, this is what this movie, I think this is what we want, no? Like, this is what we want. It's the empire of this saga. We want to our generation, like, listeners of the podcast will, I don't know, some of them grew up with this stuff in theaters, and some of us didn't. Like, we had VHS, or you got into it, like, not too long ago, or whatever it is, you know? So, I want to have that I Am Your Father moment in theater. Like, going into the prequels, we got to see this whole new set of films, but we kind of knew what was going to happen in the long run. It's not like what did they surprise us with? Oh, wow, Anakin made 3PO. Like, woo!
Well, there's only so much room for Lucas to wiggle, right?
No, I got you there. And we'd always kind of heard about the lava fight as well, so he had a story in his mind as well.
I think one of the only bombshells, which wasn't even really a bombshell, but Dooku telling Obi-Wan that Qui-Gon was once his apprentice. That was like, oh my goodness, really? But even that is not that big a deal.
No, it's not, but you could see a lot where how Qui-Gon, why he questioned things.
Oh,
And
yeah,
maybe,
no kidding.
and you can see why Dooku probably fell to the dark side too at a point. Like, he was just like, forget this, I'm out.
Anyway, so yeah, The Last Jedi, again, seemingly going to be, taking some left turns. Something we've been trying to get used to here. And we'll revisit this topic later on in the Binary Sunset, but yeah.
It's going to give us, we're looking for that sucker punch. I want it, man. I want it.
Well, yeah, we say that now, and then we might get it, and then complain about it.
Like, you're right. It's going to take some time. We're going to see the film a few times, and yeah, like you said, we'll probably get to it in the Binary Sunset, but it's definitely, I don't think it's going to be a film that you watch the first time, and you're going to be like, wow. Like, even us, we're going to be so overwhelmed seeing it, like, 2 hours and 30 minutes. It's a lot to absorb in one sitting as well. Plus, it's going to be like close to midnight when it's over later. Much later, actually.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move ahead here. The Battlefront 2 trailer, I guess the final one before it drops in November, with John Boyega kind of carrying us through. But this thing looks more and more appealing every time I see it. I see something new that I want to try. And I'm a little more eager to spend however many $100 it is for a PS4 plus the game. What about you?
It looks incredible. To be honest, it kind of looks like I've played video games. I had a PS3, but it's not like I played all that much. But man, when you look at it, it's almost overwhelming at a point. It just looks like there's so much to do. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, for me, more than anything, I just want to... The thing I want to do, like most with a bullet, is just dogfights, man. I want to fly every ship on every level and just go hog wild. Like, I know it's like all open environment, so who knows how cool some things can get. I just can't wait to do that. The ground battles don't do as much for me. But yeah, for me right now, it's flying ships and shooting down TIE fighters, etc.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with you there. I'd like to try again the ground battles anyway, depending on who you're using and stuff. Because, I mean, right off the bat, you got to use a Maul at one point. You got to use... Well, Boba would kind of be like the bounty hunter thing, I guess. But, jetpack and different... All kinds of stuff in your itinerary. Chewbacca. Grievous. Grievous would be...
Grievous.
Oh, dude, like, that's why when I look at characters like that, like, on screen, being able to play with them, that'd be cool. 4 lightsabers, come on.
Like I'll find if Jar Jar's playable, I'll take Jar Jar and find a way to kill Grievous with Jar Jar.
There you go. Bosk too, he was a cool character, but I'm totally in accordance with you in the sense that it's all about the dogfighting, man. All about the starfighting. So many ships to choose from as well. It looks so fun, so fast, and intense.
Yeah, like I hope there's a mode where you can just like join a space battle, not necessarily multiplayer, but just jump into a space battle and just see how long you can last. Like there's no real end to the mission. You just keep flying around and shooting down ships.
Or it'd be cool if they had like a mode where it'd be like, okay, like 8 p.m. Eastern time, meet here, and like 100 people get on, and like you just divide it into 2. And it's just 2 fleets like coming at each other like, attack Planet Delta, go now.
It'd be total madness. Oh, total madness. Does the single player campaign interest you at all? Or is that something you're like, meh, I'd be just as happy to watch all the cutscenes on YouTube and give me the story points for canon?
I don't know, because that's the thing that's dissuading me right now is the whole, you have to pay for the internet package to get onto this thing now, and, gaming's so competitive, and I'm pretty competitive. I just don't have the hours to put in to, probably be able to win all that much. So, in that regard, like, how often am I going to get to play, really? So, I'd have to probably do the arcade campaign mode, whatever. But I would definitely jump in every now and again, especially if there's a dogfighting option. Gotta get in there. Get some!
Yeah, I think anything in this game you can do on your own without jumping onto your internet connection and hooking in with a bunch of people. I'm pretty sure you can do that.
But I'm sure there's a lot of options for the online options as well. I mean,
Oh, no doubt. There's no doubt. There's a million different ways they're going to try and squeeze a few more bucks out of you here and there if you play online. Like, I'm so out of touch with video games. I don't know what they do anymore. But I have no doubt that they find ways to monetize the online experience.
well, neither you, myself, or James have a PS4, but we all got to talking saying, okay, we got to get our hands on one and get together one night, and we all discussed how badly I beat you guys.
Yeah, well, I was talking with I was out for dinner with Space Ninja 77 this weekend, and he said he has a PS4 that you might be able to loan us for a while. So there's an option if we need
What do
it.
you mean loan us? Dude, Snake Eyes is in. You're going down too, though. Sorry, bro. Nothing personal.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All the pieces will snap into place. So did you watch that clip?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so
It looks so good.
the clip with the Palpatine Sentinel.
Oh, dude, that's the thing. Yeah, that was the extended clip, I think.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. I love that how they put that into this game, and
It creeped me out.
like, did you not know about? Well, you must have known about that. You've read Aftermath.
No, I haven't read Aftermath yet.
Okay, well, I love how they tied this together with Aftermath. Like those Palpatine Sentinels. There's several of them, but there's one of them, and they all have sort of Palpatine's. I don't know if it's consciousness or just a form of AI. But I love that they put that in. Like we're still getting a little bit of Sheev here.
Yeah, like I said, those things were creepy as heck, man. When the way they moved around, they kind of like floated, and when they're talking to what's her name from Inferno Squadron, the main character
Iden.
of this. Yeah, he's talking to her, or she's talking to the Admiral.
Yeah, it's her dad.
Oh, really? And she's like, okay, so what's the target? And this thing just like it goes into like
almost, yeah, in like a very defensive mode, and like flies in her face and just says, "You're not cleared." Whoa.
yeah, what's that? The TK unit, I think, from RoboCop. I was like, whoa, I got that vibe from it.
Oh, EV
Yeah, you're
909 or something, 209, Ed 209.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that thing, it's a pretty creepy thing. But I love that they're tying that story point into this game. It gives it a bit of weight, makes it feel like it's a bit more important, that you really do need to pay attention to what's going on here.
and again, I'm kind of intrigued to play as the Empire at one point. I want to have my emotions played with in that way. Like again, I haven't read Lost Stars or anything, but a lot of people have that feeling about that, like dabbling in the Empire. These people too. They're not all bad people. They have families, people they love. Like they believe in the Empire. They've been brainwashed, I guess, and yeah. So it's interesting to see from their perspective, and at a point you might even be like, yeah, die rebel scum,
Yeah, I think that's kind of the idea, is that you experience a little bit of what it's like to be an Imperial, and shooting up rebel commandos on Endor might feel a little bit conflicting.
And a lot of people are down with that. A lot of people are like down with the Imperial thing, man. Like, the order was there. Sheev had that under control, man.
Absolutely. There's tons of people that are pro-Empire. Like Barney Stinson was totally pro-Empire. All right, so let's move on from that. November can't come soon enough. Actually, you know what? It can. I'm not in any real rush to drop several $100 on this, but go back 2 years ago, and I was saying the same thing about Battlefront 1, that I had to play this, and then early reviews started coming out with no single player mode, and it's all online. I was like, oh, whoa, sorry, I'm out then. So I'm glad. I'm glad I relented, because I would have been really, really ticked off if I had to buy a PS4 2 years ago and a very underwhelming game. So
that's true.
There you go. There's a little lesson in patience.
And one good thing too, just kind of touching back a bit on Sith Disturbers last week, but at least nowadays there's wireless controllers, so you won't be able to unplug mine as I get on your 6.
Yeah, but I'm not going to multiplayer with you. I'm not multiplaying with anybody.
What?
I hate multiplayer. I'm not doing
Go
it.
play by yourself. Me, James, and Snake Eyes are gonna go play all together.
Good for you guys. Good for you guys. You know,
I don't like to lose. Me.
no, I don't like having this screen all split up into little quadrants. It just drives me crazy.
We'll figure out a way. We'll get 4 TVs.
Good luck with that. You set that up.
Eric can make it happen.
You're like the king of like coming up with ideas and then making other people do it because you go, I can't do it. I don't know how.
Yeah, I look at it and I'm like, Eric knows what he's doing in that regard. I'm sure of it. He's handy.
No, you're gonna have to make yourself useful.
I came up with this awesome idea of multiplayer with you guys.
Not that awesome. Moving on. Rebels Season 4. There's a lot of Rebels talk coming up here in the next little bit. So the Season 4 poster is out. I can't tell the difference between the Season 1, 2, 3, or 4 poster. But let's talk about this one anyway. What do you find, if anything, remarkable about this poster, Corey?
I think it's a really nice poster. You see kind of like, everyone's kind of aged a bit. It's different. It's a nice poster, man. Come on.
Oh, they're all nice. They just kind of all look the same to me. They all kind of have the same color palette.
Well, yeah, the color palette of Rebels has kind of been like orangish, I guess. I would think, but anyway, I really liked it. You get the 2 baddies on top with Thrawn and Price, which means Price is gonna have a much bigger role this season, which is kind of cool. Just looking at it, I don't know, it kind of seems epic, man. You got the star charts like worked into the background of it all, which I found really interesting. Like, why is that so prominent? It's on the poster, which means it should be prominent within the story. Those primitive cave paintings as well. They were kind of scattered throughout. Interesting. We saw Loth Cat there, so it's all coming together. But I don't know. Zeb's got a badge, which means it looks like he's joined the.
With that little triangle thing.
It looks like it. Yeah,
he's had that for a while.
Really? Eh?
Yeah.
Because there was something that looked like that white badge that he had.
I'm more interested in that really weird looking hat he's wearing in a lot of the Season 4 trailer stuff.
Yeah, that looked cool too. That's what I was saying. That one of Fat Albert's buddies' hats.
Yeah, it's a very strange looking hat.
Yeah, he's probably in disguise. I was kind of hoping that they would change his outfit up a bit radically. But no. But if you look also, I saw someone kind of speculating this as well. If you look at Hera's right arm, I believe, she's covering it with her left hand because her arms are crossed. But it looks like there might be something under there, like a badge or an insignia for her squadron or something.
Very possible. I mean, Filoni does this, right? He screws with people. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if there's a few things in this poster just planted there to screw with us. For sure. Like Bobby Roberts was saying, well, look at the TIE Fighter blasts. So everybody's getting blasted in this poster except for Hera. Now, it may not mean anything, but it would be a very Filoni thing to do. To like have TIE Fighters shooting at, having blasters pointed at Ezra, Kanan, Zeb, and Sabine, but not Hera. And we know that Hera's the only one that we know of that walks away from this series.
Chopper? Jesus.
Well, and Chopper too. Like, obviously, like Chopper's right next to Hera. So we know. But it would be a very Dave Filoni thing to do to mess with us in that way. You think he's doing anything there, or if that's just this is the way the poster came out and you guys are nuts?
I see it more that way. I really do. I just see them blowing up Lothal. But I heard an interesting fan theory stating that maybe the people that are shooting at Lothal, it could be Saw Gerrera and his boys who kind of stole some Imperial ships and were like, we have to destroy this factory like now or whatever it is. And if the rebellion doesn't kind of have the balls to do it, like, we're going to do it. Like, even if there's like civilians, whatever in the way, like, it needs to be done. And that could be the falling out, I guess, between them all.
Well, if we get through this season and Saw doesn't do anything pretty drastic, then I'll say that his presence throughout will have been pretty much a waste.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it looks like we're going to get there, too. I mean, even in both trailers, it looks, if you freeze frame them at a point, it looks like they're close to a giant kyber crystal.
Really? I missed that part.
I've seen it in the first trailer we saw and this one too. Like, if it's just a quick clip, but it looks like a giant crystal to me anyhow. But I think the most interesting thing about this, well, firstly, I'm kind of sad that we didn't see AP5 and Rex. They didn't really make the Ghost Coup cut. But I thought...
Well, that's what they did, right? They kind of just drew everything tight in. Like, I think in some of the other seasons, they opened it up to other characters more. Maybe I'm wrong. But this is just the core group, Thrawn, Price, and a wolf.
And a wolf. That's the big thing, I guess, on this poster is really, when you look at the wolf, that's where you're like, Again, it's on the poster, so it's got to have a big thing to do with this season.
You would think, but it could again be Filoni just screwing around with us. He loves wolves. This is his last season working with these characters. He's gonna put a wolf in there because he just loves wolves.
I don't think so. I think there's a lot more to it, especially the fact that, those Topps trading cards he made with Ahsoka in the Sith Temple, walking through that tunnel with it, like, looked like an iris with the wolves. I'm not saying she is the wolf, but when we first saw those
Dave
wolves,
Filoni told you not a wolf, not Ahsoka.
Yeah, exactly. But still, that is teasing. With everything that he drew with those top cards, he made, whether he admits it or not, there's a link there somehow. It's not necessarily like she's the wolf per se, but everybody was on that train when the first trailer dropped. Like, that's why he drew that picture saying, like, hey, everybody, like, calm down. I didn't turn him into a wolf. But there's something about her, and a lot of people are thinking maybe it's something to do with the father in the Mortis trilogy, or the Mortis arc, sorry.
Oh man!
And then, like, the daughter being the Convery. I don't know where that leaves the brother, but if you look at the wolf's eyes as well, there's something in them. Like, it looks almost like reminds me a bit of the Witches of Dathomir, kind of, when Kanan was possessed. Like, there's something magical going on there. These creatures are more than what they seem, and I'm not saying that they are related to Ahsoka in any way, but what I hope they do is that they leave us the breadcrumb, the nugget that we need to know about Ahsoka, like, where we can speculate further on that character. Like, I don't know necessarily if we're going to see her in this series, but we have to hear something about her before it's all said and done, I would think. Like, where both Kanan and Ezra, like, look at each other like, Ahsoka, like, only she would know, and it's got to have something to do with the wolves, to me personally.
That's kind of where things are pointing. But looking at this poster and thinking about what's gone on in the past, there's got to be something going on around the topic and theme of eyes, right? Like, Kanan's been blinded. There's a shot in the trailer with Ezra, and there's a close up on his eyes where it almost looks like he's communicating with those animals again, and there's like that hyperspace look to his eyes.
Yeah, I love that.
And there's a shot where you see Ezra and Sabine on the back of the wolf, and they're running away from something, and it looks like Sabine's
running
eyes,
towards something.
Like, it looks like Sabine's eyes are all bandaged up, right? Like, she's clearly out of it. So something's going on with eyes in this series, and maybe specifically this season. Or maybe I'm just reaching. Really. Or, and again, and this wolf's eyes are all lit up like a Christmas tree. Anyway, something maybe to watch for.
Yeah, I like that. Like, I always kind of speculated the Bendu. He kind of looked like he had a mad case of cataracts. He could have been blind just like Kanan.
Yeah, he definitely looked cataracty. All right, and we also got, aside from this poster, we got titles and descriptions for the first 6 episodes. We'll run through them quickly and see if anything jumps out at us. Heroes of Mandalore. So airing on the October 16th. Part 1, Heroes of Mandalore. Sabine leads Ezra, Kanan, and an army of her fellow Mandalorians back to her home world to rescue her father from the clutches of the Empire. Sounds pretty straightforward, right?
Straightforward. It's going to be awesome. Epic. She's going to raise the Black Saber, man. She's going to charge Tally-Ho with her Mandalorian brothers. It's gonna be awesome, man.
It's gonna be her Braveheart moment.
Yeah.
So then part 2, when Sabine discovers the Empire has resurrected a devastating weapon she created and plans to use it against her people, she must decide whether to destroy it or use it herself.
Ding, ding, ding. And I just want to give some props to you, bro, because I know 100% it was one of us, but I'm pretty sure it was you who said that, is it possible that that weapon we see zapping people at the beginning when, you see the helmet fall off?
Yeah, when that person a Mandalorian gets turned to ash?
Yeah. Like, then you say, like, you said something like, what if that's the weapon that Sabine created that we've heard about?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
And I'm pretty sure it looks like that's going to be the one.
Yeah, I was pretty sure about that. It looks like a pretty devastating weapon, something that would keep you up at night.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That was a pretty good call, bro.
Nice. All right. Thanks for bringing that back up. So anyway, that sounds like it's going to wrap up Sabine's story. I mean, Sabine obviously will be in the rest of the series, but for the most part, it looks like the big meat of her arc is going to wrap up in these 2 episodes.
No, I wouldn't say wrap up, but like you're going to get the gist of where she's going.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the whole thing about who's going to lead Mandalore and the resolution with her family, I think that's going to happen on October 16th.
Yeah, well, I see her more kind of like you said, she's going to unite Mandalore. Hopefully they win the war they need to anyhow for the time being, but she's going to be like, yo, I need to retreat to the Greater Rebellion again. Like, I'm passing the black saber back to Satine or my mom, my dad, whatever.
Bo-Katan.
Yeah, Bo-Katan, sorry.
In the Name of the Rebellion, Part 1, on October the 23rd. As members of the Rebel Alliance, Ezra and the Ghost crew must accept a mission to spy on an Imperial outpost they would rather destroy. Sounds like maybe this is where, like you were talking about, this could be where Sog might get involved.
Yeah, exactly. I saw it like that, and it looks like that is the case. And what interests me is which outpost and why. So that could probably lead back into things too. I think that's going to be let's say cameo, but it's going to be familiar to our fan base.
Like, couldn't they just be going over to Lothal to just spy on the TIE Defender factory?
I don't know, because they seem reluctant. Well, yeah, maybe.
Like, they've been told, go check this place out, scope it out, learn the routines, learn shift changes, all this stuff.
But doesn't it say they'd rather destroy than...
Well, yeah. Who knows who gives the order?
That makes sense then. Yeah, you're right. Like, Ezra's probably just like, well, why don't you just destroy it now?
Maybe Saw Gerrera gets involved and says, yeah, why don't you destroy it? You have a chance right now to blow this thing up, but here you are doing Mon Mothma's errands. Maybe that's this episode here.
I hope when Ezra meets, because I think that's the second part of this two-parter. When Ezra meets Saw, he's able to judge his character properly, and knowing that Saw might be a little too extreme in things, but take what he's saying with a grain of salt. Because it looks like, again, in the second part, it looks like they're gonna do something together with Saw.
Yeah. Saw Gerrera looks like he's gonna figure heavily in part 2. After being separated from Hera and Kanan, Ezra and Sabine join the desperate quest of Saw Gerrera to hunt down the Empire's elusive secret super weapon.
That's it. Another Death Star reference. Coming right into that Rogue One era. What?
No, I'm not dumping on the idea. It's just, again, how close are they going to get? They're going to be so close to uncovering the Empire's secret, and they're going to fall short.
Ooh, bro, it just popped in my head? Oh, damn.
Do we want to know?
I could save it for later in the listener question, but I'm gonna do it now. Like, what if it is that giant kyber crystal? Like, what if the Death Star's like, it's a battle station and whatever, and they're designing it all, they're still kind of building it, but they haven't put the kyber crystal in yet. So what if it is the kyber crystal that Ezra's dealing with, And Galen Erso would obviously, I think, have his hands on that Kyber crystal if he was still kind of experimenting with it.
Yeah.
So maybe he makes a cameo.
That would be fantastic. But yeah, I think we are going to touch on that again later. So we'll put that on Park for now. And then airing October 30th, The Occupation, Ezra and the Ghost crew are called back to Lothal when a new Imperial threat rises. Now, is this going to be the TIE Defender, like being rolled out in full production?
Either that or close to.
I would think so. And I think that would sort of be our cue to expect the X-Wing.
Well, that's the thing. I think, which episode description did it say that they saw steals the prototype, right? Of a TIE model?
Yeah, that's the last one coming up here. The Flight of the Defender, also airing on October 30th. Ezra and Sabine steal an Imperial prototype TIE fighter, but must rely on some unexpected help to escape from Thrawn.
Okay, so maybe I see it a bit more as, yeah, you're right. He unleashes his TIE, Thrawn's TIE, and wreaks havoc. So in kind of the next episode, they're like, we have to get our hands on this to kind of, reverse engineer it. Like, what are we dealing with here? What are we up against? What do we need to beat it? And then the X-Wing being the response to that, having brought that TIE home. So it's like, okay, we can counteract this by designing this.
Well, do you think they design the X-Wing as a result of the TIE Defender, or they just go and I feel like the X-Wings are already in existence. They just don't have them. I remember they stole the Y-Wing bombers, right?
Maybe it's not necessarily like in a direct response to that, but they need something that's better, and they kind of look at what the Empire's technology and say, hey, we can use that and do this.
Yeah, I mean, something else I said a year ago is that the X-Wing is going to be the response to the TIE Defender. I feel like that's exactly where this is going.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Cool. Well, there you go. There's the first few synopsis of Rebels.
But just touching back on that, I think we need to see the devastation that the TIE can wreak before having the X-Wing needs to be the solution. You know what I mean? It can't just be like, okay, you defend, you brought yours out, but we had ours already ready. It should be like, oh man, we need to create, there needs to be a response to this thing. This thing's a monster. We're gonna get wiped out if not.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they have what? The Y-Wings and the A-Wings.
And the B-Wing.
And the B-Wing. Oh, wouldn't it be...
Still in production.
They need to work in some B-Wings in this series.
In Battlefront?
Well, in Battlefront for sure. Oh my god.
Think of that, bro. I don't know if there is one. I don't think there is, but man, the potential behind that with the gyroscopic cockpit is insane.
That'll be I imagine that's got to be difficult to control though in a video game. It doesn't make sense as a ship in any way. Unless it sticks in one mode. It's a ship that just doesn't make sense.
Oh, it has a lot of potential, I guess, if you're an amazing pilot like Hera.
I'm sure there's plenty of amazing pilots out there. All right, so now finally, some speculation on what's coming next from the Lucasfilm animation department. So Pablo, this past week, I'm not even going to talk about his last name anymore because it's like we're all friends with Pablo.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So he had mentioned something to the effect that the animation department is working hard on what's next, and it'll be probably the next Star Wars Celebration where Dave Filoni and crew will introduce it the right way. So that's nearly 2 years away, Corey. So we got a lot of time to think about what's coming next. And I think we've already kind of done that a couple times, but let's maybe go a little bit deeper. What do you think? What's going to come down the pipe here?
Well, it's interesting you said that because that's the first thing that I was thinking about too, is that we heard at some convention he had kind of said that So again, it's not really confirmed or anything, but it looks like that's going to be the case. And when you look at it from that angle, it's like 2019 is Celebration. So it's not going to be like, yeah, this is what we're doing and here it is. It's probably going to be like another year before getting that series, you know? Maybe even 2. I don't think 2 maybe, but it's not going to drop right away. Maybe they'll give us a teaser or something. I don't know, but I don't think it's going to come out like 3 to 6 months after having announced it. So that being said, it's kind of like it can coincide with the end of this saga. So it leaves the door open for them to do a lot of different things and play in a lot of different times. But I'm curious to see. I'm really curious to see what they want to do. Like me, I want to further adventures of Hera, kind of, you know. Like let's see what Hera does. But at that point in the future, I think, you know, the buzz around Rebels will probably have cooled down a bit. So maybe it won't be that viable still. But no, it's true. People would cheer like crazy if that was the announcement. Like General Syndulla and I don't know, it'd be insane. But I want to see if they're going to go outside their sandbox, you know? Think outside the box. And what are they going to do? They can go in the past, like deep into the past, do the Jedi Knights, introduce a whole new line of characters instead of relying always so heavily on, you know, the sandbox they've been playing in forever. Like, that's what we're still doing, right? We're in that era right now. We did the Clone Wars, we did Rebels.
Yeah,
and don't get me wrong,
we're still leaning on Anakin and Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, all these, just times that we're already so familiar with.
Yeah, I mean, in Rebels, not so much. Yes, we saw Darth Vader and Maul and all that, but and a lot of familiar faces. It's just the time frame. It's smack dab in what we're familiar with. So are they gonna do something bold and just take us somewhere completely new and introduce this whole new thing? Or are they going to continue to... Because personally, like, I have a feeling, I don't know, I just have this gut feeling that they're not going to do After Jedi. Like, the years between After Jedi and The Force Awakens. I don't know, I don't see an animated taking place in that time zone.
Well, they got to do something in that time zone. I don't see them doing a movie in that time zone. It's tough to say. I mean, there's so many.
They've done quite a few books.
I know. Are you gonna explore that whole juicy time frame in books?
Oh man, dude, they already did Bloodline, Aftermath.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like Aftermath has kind of been. I don't know. Aftermath was kind of. It was okay, but it was not. I mean, I speak for a lot of fans when I say it wasn't quite what I was hoping for. It was cool. It got better as it went along, but it didn't deliver the goods. Anyway, so remember last week Katie had asked us for a standalone synopsis?
Yep.
I think that, like my idea of like the history of the galaxy or the history of the Jedi through Luke's eyes, I think that could be a really cool animated series. Like every week we visit a different chapter in Jedi history. I think that would work really well. So you could jump around. You can go way back in time and do an arc, 10,000 years ago, or you could do an arc 150 years ago and do a younger Yoda. I think that works pretty well. But I don't know. But whatever, like, Dave Filoni's the guy. I think he's the closest thing to George Lucas. So whatever he wants to do, I mean, I don't know if it's his choice, but whatever project he's on, I'm all in on.
Oh, for sure. But at least I want to say that I hope they continue expanding and building on the universe they've already created in animation. I hope they use the same platform. I don't want them to kind of change that at the moment, If you want to do a different show, live action, whatever, or something like Forces of Destiny, like that's great. That's awesome. But this animated platform, I really hope that they leave the style that they've been using all this time.
Well, I mean, the styles between Rebels and Clone Wars are pretty different.
But you get that they're the same. They're similar. They're very similar. Technology's changed, I guess, there, but you get the point.
Well,
I mean, the same characters carry over.
right, but look at the way that Anakin is in the Clone Wars and the way we see him in Rebels. He's 100% different. Look at Yoda. 100% different.
Anakin, like, we only see him in a hologram.
But he looks nothing at all. Nothing at all like in the Clone Wars series. They could have easily modeled the same character.
Yeah, it's true.
Looks absolutely nothing like him. Yoda is 100% different. And even though the Yoda that we see in Rebels is really just a manifestation of Ezra's idea of what Yoda is, but still, like, I think the styles are I know what you mean. It's not like they're apples and oranges, but they're definitely different enough, I think. But anyway, the next series would certainly wouldn't look out of place, I don't think.
No. Yeah, that's it. Tweak it a little, but keep it familiar in that regard.
Do you have a preferred? Do you want? Is this the way to explore galactic history, whether it's Jedi or political or whatever? Like, is animation the road to go for that, or is that something they need to do on the big screen?
Well, for the hardcore fans, I guess, the inner workings of setting that up, they can start building now in an animated show. And,
well, I feel like we're going to get some of it in about 72 days from now.
What, Building of the Past?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Big time. That book. Ooh, baby. We're in for some shockers.
So I wonder if Dave Filoni has already seen The Last Jedi and he's working off that.
I think he's involved in even probably, like, he's probably in some of those think tanks when they're all going over stuff and probably contributing here and there.
Yeah, I would say they've picked his brain a little bit and he's had some input here and there for sure. Why wouldn't you talk to Dave Filoni? Especially if maybe the idea is we want to do this animated series set in the past with old Jedi. Then you would definitely want Filoni to be involved with what's going on in The Last Jedi, because I'm sure we're going to be touching on that stuff. All right. Is that your preferred area, Corey, before we close this off?
For the moment, yeah, I guess. I'm still comfortable in where we are right now. Like I said, I don't want to do Return of the Jedi forward. I'm either down with, the rebellion stage in between A New Hope and Empire, or in between A New Hope and Jedi. Or let's just change the whole dynamic up and just give us a whole new cast, a whole new setting, a whole new era of Star Wars.
They have to be brave at some point and break away, right?
Yeah, they do. They do. They can leave reference to something's just to keep us familiar, but yeah, they have to break away at one point. It's gonna happen.
I mean, just always taking one step to the left, one step to the left. At some point, they're gonna have to take 6 steps away.
I think you have to take the leap of faith, and this is a good way of doing it too. You gotta have that.
Is it though?
Juicy story.
Is it though? Because you put a whole series or a whole season in the can, and if it bombs, if fans aren't interested off the hop, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, seriously, with Star Wars fandom only with hundreds of thousands of viewers.
Well, still, I mean, look, fans can always be fickle. You can't always imagine that everything you do they're gonna love.
No, I gotcha. There's people out there who don't like Rebels, which confounds me. But hey, man, you don't like it, it's fine.
Somehow I get the feeling you don't really mean that.
What do you mean? Well, it's fine. I mean, people are entitled to their own opinion. I personally, as a fan, I think Rebels has a lot to offer.
I would totally agree. I don't know why people don't like it, but hey, to me it's their loss.
Israel preacher.
Okay, that's it for the news this week. It's time for the Binary Sunset with some amazing help from our powerful friends. So, the first voice, as always, will be that of the wonderful ads. So here we go.
Ads.
Evening, boys. How the devil are we? I hope you've both had good weeks. So I've got 2 questions for you. The first one is The Last Jedi. What super duper powers do we think we may discover for a Luke or even a Snoke in this film? In The Force Awakens, we found out that Kylo Ren could stop a blaster midair and hold it there with the Force. So do you envisage there being any new Force powers yet unseen on screen appearing in the new film? And then the second question is to do with movie memorabilia. And I saw something in a magazine recently which suggested that Marty McFly's Nike shoes were being sold for a guide price of £25,000 to £35,000. So it got me thinking, what pieces of movie memorabilia, if money was no object, within reason, would you want to acquire for yourself? So that can be Star Wars related, it can be other movies as well. And I think to avoid any loopholes, and Corey, I'm looking at you with this one, I'm going to say you can't choose any spaceship, for example. So you couldn't choose the Millennium Falcon or an X-Wing, etc., etc. So have a think, and I shall look forward to listening to your suggestions. Have a great show. As always, you're doing a brilliant job, and I shall see you next week. Bye.
And there he goes again. It's ads, and we're kicking off the best part of the show. It's the Binary Sunset powered by the Powerful Friends. So, Corey, yeah, I think it's a given that we'll be getting some new and amazing Force powers in this movie. But I always wonder, how far are they going to take it? Like, I have a difficult time imagining new Force powers because it kind of feels like we've seen them all, right? But for sure we're going to get something new. So what do you think is on tap for Luke here?
Oof. Luke in particular, or just the Force?
Well, did you listen to Ad's question?
I did. I thought it was just the Force in general, but either way. Well, we heard Carlos was kind of sent that question in a month or two ago about Luke having some kind of Force repulse, I think it was called.
Yeah.
That would be a new one.
Yeah. This violent, explosive power, right?
Yeah, like an orb of energy, kind of like Hadouken.
Yeah. I mean, that we've heard that a bunch of times. It could be a side of Luke that we're not used to seeing, where he just uses like these almost out of control, violent powers. Is that new? I guess it's kind of new, right? Like, nobody really uses the Force in canon that way.
Well, that's because they're all... Well, that's not true. I mean, Ahsoka chops off 4 people's heads in one fell swoop at one point.
Okay, but that's like a lightsaber skill. We're talking about like using the Force
To hurt people? Or...
Not necessarily to hurt people. It could be for like Yoda lifting the X-Wing out of the swamp. That was a Force power that we had not seen before. So like,
True.
what's the equivalent of that in The Last Jedi?
It's going to be something big in the long run. I don't necessarily... Well, definitely Luke's going to have a trick or two up his sleeve, especially with his new image, his new understanding of the Force. Obviously, something's changed. The book, the way he caresses that book too. Again, I really have a feeling that's the first time he's seeing it. There's a longing for that book. It's either that or he's read it so many times and has it in such high regard that it like changed his life or whatever. But for the most part, yeah, I just see Luke being super powerful. The Force Repulse thing is one example, but I think our understanding might come a little more through Snoke. We got to have the Force lightning equivalent somehow in this film. Like, he's got to seem overbearing, like just so powerful. I think at one point, like he has to know something that everybody else doesn't too, and that's why he's scared that Luke's gonna find out the true power, the true nature of the Force. Like when you hear Luke tell Rey, it's so much bigger. Like, dude, it really says something there. Like our understanding of the Force was kind of under the microscope. Like,
well, it was limited, right?
We gotta take the blinders off here. So I don't know. I thought about that a bit, and I can't come up with good. Like, I don't want to say like an altered being or like an altered beast. Snoke being able to somehow shapeshift. I don't know if that's the case. That seems a little too Harry Potter-ish. Maybe teleportation in the short, like not like across the galaxy, but like to be able to reappear behind you, kind of. That'd be kind of like, oh man,
like Loki
that'd be hard to defend.
in Avengers?
Yeah, that'd be hard to defend against. Or like you said, like an illusionist as well, like Loki. Like, what's real, what's not. That seems pretty Force-ish to me.
That's almost
like,
mind trickish, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I could see Snoke being able to get deep in someone's mind, like a real sorcerer, kind of like get at the heart of your emotions and just play with them.
Yeah, like I thought maybe taking like mind tricks to the extreme where it's almost like mind control.
Yeah, I got you there.
He could do something like that. Maybe he could get into Luke's head at some point.
Yeah, if he knows I could see them fighting it out, like mind to mind, and Luke really struggling with, Snoke, like just being overbearing.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that. I
like,
could see that playing out where Luke's psyche is probably so frayed, and he's possibly so fragile at this point that, for as revered and powerful as Luke is, I'm sure there is some room to exploit his sorrow and his regret. And I bet I wouldn't be surprised if Snoke knew how to do that via the Force, and you could see him get into Luke's mind and maybe coerce Luke to do something that you wouldn't expect Luke to do. And then Rey's challenge is to not let Snoke do that, because we've seen her kind of keep Kylo Ren out of her head, right? Or she's get out of my head, and she pushes back. Maybe that's just the tip of the iceberg where Snoke's going to try and get into her head, and will she be able to resist him? Like that might be part of the challenge for Rey.
And also the fact that, Luke's burning inside because of everything that's happened. His nephew, granted, it's not his son, but either way, it's his nephew who he obviously loved. So as soon as Snoke starts kind of like twisting the knife in that wound, like, it's not going to be good. And if Snoke tells Luke his eventual plan and how Kylo's kind of like a puppet, like, it's not going to sit too well with him, I'm sure.
Probably not. I would imagine not. So that's... Yeah, for Snoke, I'm just going to go with some kind of like total mind control thing. Because I don't know how physically powerful he's going to be. I don't know if he's going to move super quickly or be able to flip around like Palpatine was able to. He just looks too old. He's too old. Happy Gilmore thing. He's just too old. He's just too decrepit. So maybe it's not a physical thing with Snoke, but it's totally a mental thing.
That's it. Like, when you think about him fighting, it's either going to be a really awkward, creepy style of fighting, or just something where he doesn't even need to get up. I could see him, like, as Luke's like in pain, like dropping to one knee, he finally stands up and like lords over him, and you see his full like 7-8 foot presence, I guess. Like, it almost reminded me of, you remember in the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, where Bilbo doesn't want to give Gandalf the ring at the beginning, and like Gandalf kind of just does this crazy illusion where the fire goes dim and it looks like he's like, I don't know, 3-4 times his normal size, and he's telling Bilbo, like, don't talk to me, like, don't do those kind of things or whatever. I can kind of see Snoke being able to do that too, in a way, like you said, the mind control, just being able to build himself up,
Yeah, force intimidation.
Yeah, there you go. There's force power, force intimidation. Thought about levitation. I heard a rumor about levitation as well. We know Jedis can kind of like glide, kind of like take super long jumps.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's when I said it off the top, is that I feel like we've seen it all. Like we've seen the super fast run, we've seen the long jumps, especially in Clone Wars, where they just seem to jump these endless distances. I mean, obviously the Force powers them to do crazy things when they're dueling with lightsabers. Oh man, like now communicating with animals, right? That's something Anakin could do to a degree. Ezra can do it. Can Luke connect with Porg? Is that a thing?
I don't know. He's got his porg prod.
Yeah, I guess probably not.
He doesn't like them too much. I'm sure they get bitey. I'm sure of it.
I don't know. It's a good question, Ads. I definitely want to hear what you think. It's really tough to think about what new Force powers are out there.
Yeah, I'm touching back on Snoke again, too. I think his ring, I mean, everyone said and speculated that they think it's a black kyber crystal. That could be pretty interesting.
Maybe it's like a black licorice flavored ring pop. That's what I always thought it was. No?
Well, that would be, yeah, it makes sense. It's a horrible flavor.
It's a terrible flavor. That's why he's so grumpy all the time. Black licorice. Oh, God. Who invented that? And who likes to drink Sambuca? Ugh. Come on. All right, so Ads also asked us about movie props that we'd like to own, and he put some constraints on your selecting, Corey. So within I mean, money's no object, but within reason. What kind of movie props would you like to own?
All kinds. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna start right off the bat. I gotta get it out of the way before you say it. But anything Indiana Jones, the hat, the whip, the jacket, I don't care. I want it.
His little sling pack that he wears over his shoulder. That he hides the
Shankara stones.
Yeah. That too. That's on my list. Yeah, those are gimmies. I think the fedora is probably the most important of those.
Yeah, I would have to think so. I excluded anything for Star Wars from my list because, I mean, in that regard, I kind of want it all. Like the sabers, the helmets, Max Rebo's piano or keyboard.
Snowtrooper on a mannequin. I would love to have that.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
No, it would be so cool to have that. Oh. Yeah, you're right though. Let's stay away from Star Wars. I mean, we could go back and forth all day on amazing Star Wars stuff to own. So let's step away from.
Well, I love this comment on the shoes because those shoes are amazing. Nike even did a run. I think they've done 2 runs on those shoes so far, and they were like retail. I think, like $1,000 or $1,500. It was all for charity, but there was a limited number, and definitely awesome. I can't believe we don't have those yet, or flying cars.
Yeah, they missed on a lot of things in that movie. A lot of things. We're not even close to like
Mr. Fusion.
No Mr. Fusion. Blood changes instead of oil changes. I guess you could do that with some kind of transfusion, right?
Hydrate level 5, please.
The upside down flying wheelchair.
Yeah, the hoverboard.
We're not quite there yet.
Hoverboard seems like we're close, but
yeah, I feel like we're getting there.
Either way, I mean, let's keep on that train. Back to the Future. I know we can't have spaceships and stuff, but why not have a time-traveling DeLorean?
Well, I feel like you're breaking the loophole now.
Or a TARDIS. Time-traveling TARDIS.
Still breaking the constraints of Ad's question.
Well, you know, he mentioned Star Wars only, so.
No, he didn't. He said he'd go anywhere.
Okay, how about this?
I don't know. I really don't know if you listened to the question.
I do. Dude, he's talking about traveling in space and stuff, you know? But, you know, I'm traveling to space and time. But no, for real, how about the Bullet? Steve McQueen's Bullet. 1968 Mustang.
Are you? We'll let ads preside over that one. I feel like again that's you got to have a. If money's no object, that's not the deal. Where are you gonna put this thing?
I don't know. You can put it in the garage or.
Do you have a garage?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Yeah, no, that Mustang is something else. What's the other car in that chase scene?
I'm not sure.
Is it a Firebird?
Don't make me Google it.
I have the movie. I should watch it.
That is a good chase scene. What else
Probably
you got?
the best. It's got to be up there with the best.
Of course.
Underrated car chase movie is Ronin.
Oh, bro. That is an underrated movie in general. That movie is amazing. I must have seen it at least 20, 30 times. It was an indie film, low budget. Robert De Niro was in it.
That's a hell of a cast.
Oh, yeah. But the story was awesome, too. Especially the way it ends. It's like, oh, yeah.
I went to go see that in theater. That was I walked out of that movie. I was just raving about it. And
it had like a super Euro vibe to it, you know?
Possibly because it was all shot in Europe?
Yeah, but I mean, just the style.
Shock.
The style of the film as well, kind of. Anyway, great film. I love that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a product of its location. Fantastic movie. And it still holds up.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Masterless Jedi.
All right, back on track. I am going to go with. I've got a couple here. So Hellboy's Big Baby.
I like it.
That's such a cool gun. Oh, there's like Nerf guns out there now that look a lot like it. I want an entire Ghostbusters uniform with the trap and a proton pack.
You bastard. That's on my list too.
Come on. How can it not be? Eddie Murphy's varsity jacket.
Oh,
or is it a Detroit Lions jacket?
Detroit Lions, bro.
Yeah. Although I wouldn't want to be thought of as a Lions fan. That's worse than being a Dolphins fan.
Is it?
Kind of is. I mean, they're decent this year, but whew. The last time they won a Super Bowl was what, 1950 something?
Never tell me that.
Actually, that was before Super Bowl. So a championship was the 50s. Anyway.
What about Sting from Lord of the Rings?
Why stop there? Why not? What's the name of Vigo's sword at the end?
Aragorn? Oh, I can't believe I don't know this.
I can't believe you don't know it either.
Me either. It's late.
James?
Seriously. I'm Googling it, but it's going to be too late.
Yeah, you know what? I don't like his last sword. It's very skinny. Feels like it couldn't. I know it's made by the elves, but it feels like it wouldn't hold up.
Bro, it's magical.
I know it's magical. Just
probably pierce a dragon, you fool.
Too skinny for me. I just want to go fencing with it. All right. What else? The coconut horse hooves from Monty Python.
It's Anduril. Sorry.
Anduril. All right. Yeah. Anyway, the coconut horse hooves that blow everything out. Come on. That whole scene with the horses and the migrating. I love it.
In what?
Monty Python. Holy Grail.
Oh, with the coconuts?
Yeah.
That's the best.
I would love to have those coconut horse hooves, man.
Dude, that's the best. One of the best scenes ever. He's like, we're in search of the Holy Grail. Qu'est-ce qu'il veut? He's like, tell him we already got one. So good.
Oh, I love those guys.
Pitcher la vache.
All right, I guess that's a quick synopsis of some of the movie memorabilia I'd like to own. I'm sure there's tons more.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking...
Maltese Falcon.
That'd be a good one. Deckard's gun. One our good friend Matt Kigo just drew. That's a solid-looking gun.
Oh, no doubt. I'm just trying to take a glance over to my small collection of DVDs. I don't know.
It's got to get epic, man. That's the thing.
I picked coconut horse hooves. Is that epic?
It is Monty Python, and that scene is pretty epic.
Like Happy Gilmore's his golf club hockey stick.
His putter.
That's not epic, but I'll tell you what, I want to own it.
You know, the guys from I don't know if you guys in the UK get that show, but there's a show called Pawn Stars, and they ended up buying the Mirthmobile from Garth from Wayne's World.
Nice.
Yeah, the actual one that was in the movie.
That's amazing. All right, ads, there you go. Some force powers and some movie memorabilia. Yeah, the force power thing, tough to answer, man. I know that there's going to be some, and I tend to think Luke is going to be a little bit unhinged with his. And then Snoke is going to be really devious and...
Well, I think it also going to boil down to Rey, too, in the long run. Like, Snoke's worried about Rey because he's obviously had visions of her. Kylo's had visions of her. Luke's probably even had visions of her. And she's going to be like this new virgin, or like, I don't want to say it like this, but she's going to probably be like the Neo of this franchise in the sense when you hear Luke say, it's so much bigger. Like, she's probably going to be the first one to unlock. Like, Luke's like, here's the key, but only you can unlock that door. Like, I can't do it. Like, I'm not the guy to do it. I'm the guy to lead you to that doorstep.
Well, that's not, I don't think that's something that Luke's going to come to right away. From what we've learned about Luke is that he doesn't want any part of anything.
No, but exactly like you said, it's definitely not going to be like that right away, 100%. But I think that's what it's going to boil down to in this trilogy is that she's going to be the one that is going to have to open that door and either bring the balance or whatever it is, or just realize how it all works, kind of.
Well, she's the one that's going to win the day.
Yeah, and Snoke's worried about that, and there's a reason why. And when Luke says it's so much bigger, it's like she's going to look at things from a different perspective. Like she's going to kind of it's all going to fall into place for her.
Yeah. Absolutely. But I think, yes, Snoke is, yes, he's worried about her, I would think, but it's Skywalker he's after. Like once they learn that BB-8's gotten away, like he kind of snaps to attention and goes, well, then we have to destroy the Resistance before they reach Skywalker, or something to that effect, right?
Yeah, because
like,
he knows
they don't want.
He knows
they don't want them getting to Skywalker under any circumstance.
Yeah, but I think it's also he doesn't want Skywalker to be able to teach this future, like, person, you know.
Well, that's why he says that the new Jedi will rise.
Exactly.
Now, is that plural or singular? Is he afraid Luke of bringing back a whole generation of Jedi again, or is he talking about the new Jedi, i.e. Rey, will rise? And it calls into question the title of The Last Jedi, right? Rian Johnson has said it could have either meaning, but now he says that the movie, at the start of the movie, it's Luke. By the end of the movie, it could be both again. It could be Rey. Makes it quite a brilliant title when you think of it like that.
So true. So true. Remember when it dropped? Oh, I can't believe none of us guessed it. We were all like, trying to make it go with Empire, you know? So like, Charge of the Resistance or Charge of the First Order, or whatever it was.
Fury of the First Order.
Yeah, the Fury. And James's. Ironically, coincidentally, whatever.
All right, thanks, ads. Looking forward to next week's ads edition. All right, so some Bradley banter this week. Let me pull this up. All right. Hello, Kyle and Corey. Hope you had a wonderful week. I just spent the last few hours on the lake fishing for bass. Happy to report we didn't get skunked. My daughter caught one to save the day, thank goodness. Even though the fish weren't biting, we were blessed with a beautiful sunset. All right, boys, let's get to it. So I'll just preface this by saying that Bradley wanted us to do a Tusken Raider impression. As you can tell, my throat is not cooperating. And also, if I do a Tusken Raider impression at 11:30 at night, my wife will probably come downstairs and jab a pencil in my ear and out the other ear. So that'll be the end of the Tumbling Saber podcast if I do that. So no can do on that one.
I got you covered.
You're going to do it?
Yeah, I was going to say... I'm probably going to wake up the whole house, but let's do this. Ready? You like that?
Wow.
You don't like that?
Wow, that was almost perfect.
A little too perfect.
A little too perfect. Good job. All right, so let's get to it. Let's talk about the runtime on The Last Jedi. 2 hours and 30 minutes. Yes, thank you, Rian Johnson. I'm so happy to hear that. This film is going to be this long. The longer the better, in my opinion. The second act seems to have several significant threads, along with the main plot, and this lengthy time only eases my anxiety on how they're going to squeeze all of these threads into the movie. So what are your initial thoughts on the running time, and do you think there's a possibility this runtime will change? So let's stop there, Corey. 2.5 hours. What do you think?
Here's what I gotta think. I think it's awesome. I think it does run a little long, but I think we want that for this film. We've all been dying for more Star Wars. I mean, it's only been a year, but this is the saga. It's different, and it looks like this movie's going to have a lot to tell us. It looks like there's going to be a lot going on. There's a lot of different characters in this saga, you know? Like, there's a lot of different story arcs going on. So, yeah, I'm on the same boat. I'm totally stoked. The longer the better, I guess, but 2 hours and 30 minutes seems perfect. It's not 3 hours. It's still a good chunk of time, but I have a feeling this movie is just gonna flow.
Yeah. I mean, one of the criticisms that I have of The Force Awakens is that it is just, the pace is breakneck. Like, the movie doesn't slow down at all, and even when it pretends to slow down, it only does so for like a couple minutes. Like the whole scene, like the Rathtar transition scene from Act 1 to Act 2. It's really quite quick, and it's not really a slowdown scene either. There's those quiet moments on the Falcon as they travel to Takodana, but still really slow. And then back at the Resistance base, they put together this plan to destroy a whole planet, just like that. It's like even the moments that are supposed to be slow and let things kind of air out a bit, even those move quick, and that's kind of a J.J. Abrams thing, which worries me a little bit for Episode 9. If I had to have a criticism. But yeah, for this movie, Episode 8, like, we've known for a while that there's going to be a lot packed into this movie. Like, a ton. So 2.5 hours seems about right to me to let these things breathe. It seems like the pacing, I mean, if the editing is going to play a role, I would hope that they, like, let this thing just slow down a little bit in key areas and let us process what's going on. But yeah, the more the better. But so, yeah, I mean, I can't really complain about that.
Oh, it sounds like good news to me. It's falling right into the average margins. Actually, it's 14 minutes longer, I think, than the longest running Star Wars prior.
Yeah, I don't know what the average is for a Star Wars movie, but I imagine it's somewhere in the 2 hour, 12-minute range.
Yep.
This is significantly longer.
Yeah, it's like we get a whole extra act.
Maybe a whole extra reel.
No, yeah, maybe not a whole act. That's true. Yeah, makes more sense. But
yeah, I mean, the longest movie prior to this was Attack of the Clones, and then Revenge of the Sith is 220, and Attack of the Clones is 222. So those are two heavy movies. And this one will be, several minutes longer, if this report's accurate. So that, I guess that leads to our next point.
There's going to be so much more to talk about, which is awesome because every scene is going to be something, man. There's going to be so much to talk about.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be talking about this movie for months.
Years?
But do you think there's a... yeah, probably years. This movie will impact probably everything. Do you think there's a possibility this runtime will change? Like, do you think that the news we've gotten is in fact accurate?
It hasn't. Again, it's one of those things that hasn't been confirmed. It does seem like a really clean number, so I got a bit of reserve on it, but I guess I'm kind of leaning toward that. but I don't want to think that I'm not going to say like, yes, it's confirmed. Like I have a good feeling that it is that long, but it seems like that's at 2 hours and 30 minutes. It almost seems like Rian Johnson just, you looked at that. Okay, now, 2 hours, 30 minutes, boom. It's like on point, it's like right there at the marker. So it kind of makes sense, as again, for this film, but until you hear it from their mouths, like, I'll
yeah, we need
reserve
to see something from the MPAA or something like that. We need them to confirm it for us. That's going to happen soon. Somewhere at some point very soon, that's going to break. Someone's going to screen cap something from an industry website, and then we'll have our confirmation. But yeah, I Bradley, there is the possibility that this changes, but 2.5 hours seems to make sense to me. And we did a poll or a little game in the TSW VIP group, and we all just sort of threw a number. How long is this movie going to be? And nobody really came close. I think Jeremy was the closest at 140 minutes. And that's still a full 10 minutes off. And he was the closest. I came in at like 131 or 133 or something like that. And everybody was kind of in that range. Nobody was really close. All right, so I'm going to continue with Bradley here. So let's go back to a childhood long, long ago. In 1980, 9-year-old Bradley laid eyes upon the second installment in the Star Wars trilogy and was completely blown away and amazed. From huge AT-ATs walking across a frozen planet, shooting down unfamiliar spaceships, a small green creature in a swamp training Luke to be a Jedi, to Vader dropping the biggest out of nowhere revelation with these mind-blowing words, "No, I am your father." All I can say is that I was completely surprised and confused all at the same time. It wasn't the Star Wars I had grown to know. The main characters were the same, but yet they weren't. They were older, more seasoned. The vehicles were the same, with a few new sprinkled in at the beginning and ending. New characters like Yoda and Lando added a new twist, along with Cloud City and its modern, clean look. It was all a lot to digest the first several times. That being said, it was Star Wars, all of it, and in time it was perfect. Why am I telling this story? Because at first, Empire Strikes Back was different, strange, and even weird at times, and it's quite possible this is the way we're going to see The Last Jedi when it comes out, and I'm here to say that's okay. In due time, it will fit with the rest of the story, and it will be perfect in the only way a Star Wars movie can be. Just remember this, John Williams is the glue. His score will make it feel like Star Wars no matter what you see. So Star Wars fans, don't fret. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. Thanks, guys, for letting me banter. Have a great week. Only 8 more days until a Star Wars trailer. Life is good. May the Force be with you and yours always. Cheers from Bradley.
Love this guy's positivity.
Yeah.
That was some solid banter, too.
It was absolutely solid banter. I like the storytelling there.
Yeah, definitely. Insight into the Bradley man. Love it.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah, this is something that we've kind of been talking about, right? Like, this movie's going to be weird. And we've kind of compared it to Empire in that way that it didn't, even that movie at the time didn't go over super well because, like Bradley said, it was full of weird things. It wasn't the swashbuckling, happy ending, storybook ending that the first movie was.
Well, that's exactly it. Yeah, like you kind of just said it there. Like Bradley, luckily, bro, you're blessed. You're totally blessed, Bradley, to have experienced this, especially at the age of 9 years old, coming off the heels of A New Hope, and you growing up in that era at that age, probably like you were like 7 when A New Hope came out. So just the build up to Empire, and it not being that film like you had expected, like you said, like no one expected that film, I guess. Because
I question, like, how aware were people, especially when you're like 6, 7, 8, 9 years old? Like, how aware are you? There's no internet. There's no 24/7 news. There's no, like, you can't just turn on MTV and be like, oh, look at that, they're making a new Star Wars. Like, obviously the news was out there, but
if you watched the first one, you knew the second one was coming out.
Did you?
I would think so. It's newspapers. That was the thing back then. People made do. News, TV.
How many 7-year-olds are reading newspapers?
Either way, there's TVs. There's all kinds. They got schoolyards, kids talk. Everyone knew about Star Wars. Like, the build up to it must have been like amazing. And then, like you said, seeing it in theaters and just being like, okay, like the first one we saw was like you said, like a box office smash, but it was that hero's journey and the Death Star blowing up, and it's like, woo, you know. And this one was kind of like, whoa, man, like this is like a film, and this is so deep. This stuff.
Well, and you know what? Like, yeah, it would have been awesome to have grown up in that era, just to be part of like the real original run of fans. But I think one of the advantages of having taken in Star Wars when and how we did, you know, not coming around to it till the mid 80s, is that we didn't sit around ruminating on what the next chapters were going to be like. We went from one to the next without developing this locked in headcanon. So it was it was what it was, and it was all kind of one inseparable story.
Yeah, but it was beautiful at the same time. Yeah,
well, that's what I mean. Like, we didn't get a chance to sit around and think about, ooh, Star Wars Part 2 is going to be so cool, and Luke's going to fight Darth Vader because that's what's going to happen. He's going to kick his butt all over the place, and the bad guys are going to lose. Like, we never got a chance to dredge up those stories in our minds. Like, it was just like, okay, take out the first one, let's put the next one in and see what happens. Oh my God, this is so weird. Let's see how this ends.
What I'm curious now when you say it like that, because I think a lot of people would have put this together if you're an actual fan. Had they known at this point, once A New Hope was filmed, they're like, okay, we're such a big hit, we're doing Part 2. Did they say straight off the bat, we're doing a trilogy, that's it. It's 3 movies now. So people are invested in that at that point, you know what I mean?
I imagine that, yes, they as soon as A New Hope was a smash, that Lucas was going to go ahead with closing out the trilogy.
Yeah, that's it. So knowing that they had a trilogy, and you know, if anyone's into classic storytelling, they would think that the middle chapter is the dark one. Maybe to not that degree, because again, that's pretty much one of the best moments in cinematic history.
Oh,
biggest
no question.
Surprises.
No question. I Am Your Father that's one of the biggest moments in movie history. No question. Yeah, and one other thing I like that Bradley mentioned that not enough people are talking about, and that's John Williams. Like, he's the safety net. Like, his soundtracks always make the movie 1 star better. It's like, it's impossible to overstate like how much better the movies are because of him.
Yeah, and the fact that he's super into it, he loves Star Wars, and he's been on record as saying that, yeah, like, as long as I'm alive, no one else is writing for Rey, because he's into it. That means he's into the character, he's into the story, into the actress, whatever. Like, I love this character.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's great that he has that emotional investment into the story and into the characters. I love it. But yeah, like, John, I can't wait for the soundtrack to come out. I just, with a 2.5 hour movie, that's a lot of music. Like, John Williams really had to put in a lot of work with this one. And I hope, The Force Awakens was the soundtrack that's available to us is a single disc. So if The Last Jedi is also going to be a single disc, there's going to be a lot of music cut from the movie, or cut from the soundtrack, and that's going to piss me off. No, seriously, yeah. It will. Like, there's a lot of music in The Force Awakens that is not on the disc, and it bothers me.
Yeah, for sure. It would bother me too if I got to sit at work and listen to them on a pair of $800 headphones.
I tell you, sometimes life is good at work. Anyway, I got to step it up last week. I told you about that, right?
I saw you post something about, I think they were like $700-800, and you like whipped them off your head.
Oh yeah. I was listening to the Nerd Room, like everybody should be.
Indeed.
And Troy was about to. They were talking about spoiler stuff, And he gave me like a 1 second spoiler warning. So I just like chucked the headphones off my head when he said, Kyle, this is for you. Ah! And I was like, oh, I think I know where he was going. But anyway, I didn't want to hear it. But yeah, if I'm going to throw $700 headphones around, they're not going to, I don't want it to be mine. But no, I got to step it up again last week. Listening to like headphones worth a couple of grand. Ugh, crazy stuff, man. Like
yeah, people love wasting money.
Listening to the Star Wars soundtracks. Like I just took off and went to our showroom for like 45 minutes and just listened to Star Wars music. And these headphones just unearth like instruments in the background that I've never heard before. I didn't even know they were there. It was nuts. Awesome. So needless to say, now I want these headphones.
Just steal a pair.
Security's way tighter now. Way tighter. All right, Bradley, thank you, sir. Lots to chew on there. And yeah, I like that Bradley is showing some moxie there and knowing that The Last Jedi is, it's going to take some digesting. We're going to have to chew your food very slowly and carefully at that meal.
I wouldn't necessarily say moxie, but dude, that's some sage wisdom. And also, it comes along with this as well. I'm happy you guys caught a fish, but I can tell you, Bradley, Kyle and I, we went out with my dad so many times fishing, like, and man, did we get skunked. We got skunked a lot. And not only...
That's the life of fishing, though. Sometimes you just don't, most of the time you just don't catch.
You know what the crazy part is, though? Think about this, Kyle. Like, in our childhood, we went on the ice to fish, ice fishing, I'd say at least a good 50 to 100 times with ski-doos.
Whoa, jeez.
Dude, Kyle, he was taking us twice a week at one point when we were in between. You were probably in like grade 5, maybe?
I would say we've been like 25 times.
Okay, say between 25 and 50.
Sure.
Either way, we never, ever, ever caught a fish ice fishing. Not once.
Well, I don't know, because you and I never stuck around long enough.
Well, no, bro. You know, Dad. You would have been like, check it out.
We always took off. We're going to go plow some ice and we're going to go shoot the puck around, or we're going to go just run off.
It doesn't matter. We would have known. So, did you catch anything? No.
Can we stop talking about fishing on a Star Wars podcast? My God.
Well, either way. I know what Bradley says with the skunk thing.
Yes, and Bradley, to answer your question, no to fly fishing. Never tried it.
Yeah.
All right, here. Nathan's back this week with we're going back into Rebels territory here for a couple questions. So Nathan says, "Hey fellas, hope your week was great. As we approach the premiere of Rebels, I've been rewatching some episodes of past seasons and been doing some contemplating on them. In doing so, I've developed a new grievance: Ahsoka. Uh-oh. In the Clone Wars, we saw her on multiple occasions act as a teacher. It became a sort of theme as it weaved through the Mandalore, Onderon, and Padawan arcs of the show. She was pretty good at it, finding relative success at the end of each story. Yet in Rebels, given the opportunity to help instruct a young student with a master who had never completed his training himself, she was set aside. Unlike Rex, who jumped right into training Ezra immediately. Now I get that Ahsoka was no longer a Jedi, and so didn't want to interfere with Jedi training. But come on, Kanan was even hoping for the help. And even without being a Jedi, she still has 15 years of experience being a lightsaber-wielding Force user in a time when such folk were hunted. Not even Kanan did that. Not only that, but she did so without falling to the dark side. Surely she possesses knowledge that both Ezra and Kanan could use. All that is to say that I think this was a huge missed opportunity. They could have so easily capitalized on what they had already built in the Clone Wars. And since Filoni is so eager to bring as many of those elements into Rebels as possible, I wish he had also carried over that defining characteristic of Ahsoka. Am I on the money, or do you guys think it was well enough left alone? Have a great show, guys. All right, so I feel Nathan's pain here, because I've wondered this myself. And I know that Ahsoka kind of gave some sage wisdom and advice here and there, and that was probably her contribution as teacher. But yeah, I've thought about this, and it is weird. Like, Kanan was desperate to dump Ezra onto Master Unduli, right? So
yeah, but that's because he wasn't confident in himself, and he himself hadn't been dubbed a Jedi Knight yet.
sure, but then here comes Ahsoka onto the scene. Like that, his prayers answered. Here's another Jedi to help you. And they didn't cross that threshold. So Ahsoka having given up being a Jedi seems like the workaround here. Like, how can I train you to be a Jedi if I'm not a Jedi myself? That seems like a perfectly reasonable and very Filoni workaround. But if she chose to leave, couldn't she also choose to rejoin and help revive the Order?
Well, she says in her the last battle we see her in, Vader tells her straight up, like, "That's not the Jedi way," and she's like, "I'm no Jedi," and that's honestly one of the greatest moments in Star Wars ever. Yeah, but I almost got the sensation that she was like a teacher imposed on us, like you said. Like, she did impart wisdom here and there, but it's not like, I guess, she was super into it.
Well, she didn't like have an active teaching role. He wasn't like, okay, Ezra, let's go step aside here. We're going to practice Form 4 or whatever it was.
Yeah, well, that's just it, man. Like, we don't know exactly what the master-apprentice relationship is. We know she did impart knowledge onto them. I agree with Nathan in the sense that there's a lot of missed opportunity there, in the sense that they could have showed some of the stuff that she showed them. But at the same time, we don't know that she didn't show them stuff. We just didn't see it. But if you look at the events of season 2, bro, listen, the events of season 2, Ezra's power grows exponentially within her presence. Kanan becomes a Jedi because, not because, but in her presence. You know what I mean? That season, he passes his trial against the Inquisitor or whatever, but she's there. They progress exponentially, both their characters, with the Force while she's able to be with them. Now, granted, again, we don't necessarily see what she's telling them, and I'm kind of in the line, like, she can't tell them too much because she's not a Jedi anymore, like Nathan had said. Like, she doesn't want to bias them with her new understanding of the Force. She has a different view of the Force and what it is. She's still a good guy, but she's free to do different things.
She's not at arm's length with the Force, but she's definitely at arm's length from the Jedi. So I can see from that standpoint why she wouldn't want to start teaching them.
That's it. Like, those aren't her teachings anymore. Like, she's discovered a new path that works for her. She's got the white sabers. She's not evil. She's found her way. And just again, look at the power growth of Ezra between 1 and 2. Like, in season 2, like, Ezra is starting to kick ass pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, he's embracing his power and
even
stretching his legs
Sato
a little bit.
Sato, remember? Follow him.
Yeah. I think in the end, the answer is sort of a pragmatic one. Like, if you think about how, like, we all suspected Ahsoka was coming back and how excited we were and how badly we wanted to see her. Right? So if Filoni goes ahead and makes Ahsoka a bigger part of the story, specifically as Ezra's teacher, it kind of sets the stage for her to overshadow the show, which I wouldn't complain about, her being one of my favorite characters of all. But I think Filoni is sensitive to that kind of thing. And he went down that road in season 2 with the Ahsoka Vader story. Like, they had to touch on it sparingly. Right? So, like, they could have let that overshadow everything. Like, that's all we talked about in season 2. Ahsoka Vader, right?
No, you're right. That was the build up. There was the Maul theme there too, and what was going on with Ezra, but yeah, definitely everyone was on that vein.
But everybody wanted to see Ahsoka Vader. That was the thing. It kind of blew out everybody else. Everything else was kind of cool. The main event was Ahsoka Vader. Same thing in season 3 with Kenobi and Maul. We all wanted to see that narrative play out, but they bookended the season with that. That could have easily, again, overshadowed the season, but Filoni kind of hits the brakes on things like that because the show was about Ezra and the Ghost Crew.
That's it. I agree with you there.
Same with Luke in The Force Awakens, right? Like, that's what was it Abrams and Kasdan said. Or was it Michael Arndt going even further back? That every time he tried to bring Luke into the story, Luke ended up taking over the story. So Luke's going to be the MacGuffin, and we'll see him at the end. That way, these new characters shine, and Luke can't hog the spotlight. So I think in the end, that's the answer as to why Ahsoka wasn't made into a bigger player as far as Ezra's training goes. And again, you peel that onion a bit further. If you give her that role and you start getting her more active back with the Jedi, it probably makes you want to bring Vader back into the series more, which, again, I wouldn't complain about. But this series isn't about those two characters, right?
No,
like Ezra gets lost in his own show.
Oh, for sure. You get totally overshadowed.
Yeah, I mean, just again, just as Ezra was a bit of an afterthought in Twin Sons. Nobody gave a rip. It was just Obi-Wan, Maul. Just give me that. And then it was like a 3-second fight. And yes, because it's Ezra's show. We're not gonna regale you with all these characters who aren't really core to the show.
Well, we've seen them work together in that regard too. Like when they're reaching out for Vader, when Vader's like smoking the Rebel fleet at one point. Like, they close their eyes, they start reaching out in the Force, and she tells them, like, remember your training. So, I still agree with Nathan 100% that it was a missed opportunity, at least in one episode, for a few minutes, for Ahsoka to have a moment with either Kanan or Ezra alone, or both. Tell them where they kind of need to go. And it would have been the one where the temple's collapsing and she sees Yoda. I can't remember the name of the episode, but that would have been she sees Yoda at least, it gives her that spark of hope. But
like, I feel like they had those moments, right? Like at the end of that episode, I think right before, they're on Atollon. Ezra's just kind of chilling out, laying down in the sun, and you see Ahsoka's head kind of pop into the shot with the convoy overhead.
Yeah,
like they had a few of those moments here or there. But like very obviously restrained moments. Like they did not want to go buck wild with Ahsoka.
No, what I see was what he's saying is that she could have imparted some kind of wisdom onto them, where we saw it on screen. Like, this is, hey guys, like, like tighten it up. This is why.
Anyway, needless to say, it's. I do agree it's a bit of a missed opportunity, but. At this point, what are you going to do? Like, I can only hope that it's a signal that there's a lot more Ahsoka to come. But thank you, Nathan. I love this question. I love that. I think we pretty much agree. But I think Filoni's a very practical storyteller in that regard, and for better or worse, he showed restraint. The end. But again, thanks. All right, from here we go to Katie. Katie this week says, with Rebels Return weeks away, now which characters would you like to see make a guest cameo? We've already got Saw and Mon Mothma coming back, so who else? I'd love to see Cassian and K2. Love the show, and you guys as always. We love you, Katie. Thank you for the question. Corey, I really have to unearth that list that we did some months ago now. At the end, I think it was our sort of roundup to season 3. And we kind of did a rundown of what characters we thought might show up again in season 4. So I don't want to run contrary to those picks we made, but who do you think? Who can you see coming back? Who would you like to see?
I got a whole slew here, but let's just get Ahsoka out of the way right away. I don't necessarily want to see Ahsoka, but I definitely want to have tidbits of information about her. Like, just keep the mysticism growing. I don't think they're going to wrap up whatever happened to her in this season. Like, it's just going to be too much, and it doesn't do the character justice. But I definitely want a breadcrumb. Leave us a tidbit for something bigger coming up. I don't know if you want to call this next one a cameo, but Hondo's got to make a reappearance. Come on.
I would say Hondo's going to make more than a cameo.
I hope so. He could be that unexpected help. He could do the hero thing.
I guess. But he's had so many opportunities to do the hero thing, and he just keeps being a pirate. I don't see that changing now.
I've seen it changing in the last couple times we've seen him. His heart's changing because of Ezra. He's out for himself, but he's just...
I think he just happens to like Ezra and wants Ezra to join his crew.
No, he's a lot less volatile than he was in the Clone Wars. Like, his heart's lighter.
Okay. I run contrary to you. I want to see Ahsoka. I definitely want to see her. I don't know that it's going to happen, but that's what I want. Jyn. I want to see Jyn make a cameo. I didn't think that would be possible because I thought that Saw had abandoned her, right? So she was just kind of like a street urchin running around the galaxy fending for herself. But now that she's going to actually meet Sabine in Forces of Destiny, there's that. I mean, it's kind of like a soft canon thing, right? But that connection seems to be made, and they seem to think over at Lucasfilm that it's possible for those two people or that group and that person to run into one another. So I'd love to see Jyn.
That's it. How far? I think it's when Jin's 16, Saw dumps her.
Pretty much, yeah.
And she's what? The events of Force Awakens, Rogue One, she's about, what, 20?
21, I think she's supposed to be.
That's it. So in that regard, it doesn't fit in, but it'd be cool to see her come back as well. I don't see it happening.
It depends on where exactly we are with season 4. I mean, we're leading up to Scarif, but who knows? We might be like a full year out from Scarif still.
Hey, it'd be kind of cool. I mean, it's a bit late in the sense that it should have been more of a build-up to Rogue One. Like, now you can tie it all in together, which is still incredibly amazing and good storytelling. But if you do have that green kyber crystal, you can get Galen in the mix. You can get Jyn in the mix and Saw. So there's a lot of stuff being covered there, which is really, really interesting. And any Alan Tudyk is good.
I'd love to see K2 back. Cassian, give me anybody from Rogue One. I mean, I guess we don't need to see Baze or Chirrut.
No,
there's
true.
There's no real reason to bring them back.
Fan service. You can show Bodhi as an Imperial pilot.
Yeah, I guess you don't really know until it happens, right? Like, oh yeah, fine, just throw in Bodhi for fun. Why not? At some point, you get fed up, and it's like, okay, stop with the fan service.
No, I got you. I got a few more here. I mentioned these a while ago, but slight chance. But you're opening up a whole nother can of worms there. Like, that's if you're gonna have a much longer seasons like the Clone Wars and be able to do these different story arcs, whereas Rebels is kind of one cohesive story. The other told different stories throughout the galaxy in 3-4 episodes, but the comeback of Commander Cody, get the whole Rex dynamic there.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, brothers lost, like maybe he's still fighting for the Empire, I couldn't retire. They gave me the Scarif package, and I said no.
Yularen. I'd like to see some more Yularen.
Well, that makes sense.
That was a great little cameo.
I agree. I'd like to get a little.
It was another slice of the making us as viewers sympathize with the Imperials, because we loved Yularen.
Yeah, we loved him. He was still, and even in Empire, that show, they couldn't make him out really to be the bad guy. He was kind of more just like the strategist and smart guy still.
Yeah, he was just a good company man. He wasn't evil. He was never evil.
He just didn't tell the truth.
Piet. I wouldn't mind seeing like a younger Lieutenant Piet.
Garbage.
It's like, we're talking about cameos here. Like, a cameo is not supposed to be epic, Corey.
Yeah.
Ray Sloan.
I have her on my list. That would be pretty good tying in.
But I feel like she needs to be a little bit more than just a cameo.
Well, yeah, kind of. I know what you mean. At that point, she'd probably still be close to cadet status as well.
Yeah, I think she'd be. Well, I don't know if she'd be a cadet. Well, she was in one of the comics already, right? Which one was she in? Damn it, I forget. But she definitely wasn't a cadet. And this is I think she'd be, again, in the lieutenant captain zone.
Yeah, that could work then for sure.
Porkins and Biggs.
Yeah, definitely. That nice little cameo. Get Wes, Jensen, Wedge all together. Start seeing the beginning of Rogue Squadron. I think Rogue Squadron is going to be a result of both the movie and the Phoenix Squadron, you know? Like the best of the best. The Top Gun.
Yeah, I wonder if they could go like into Lost Stars and put in Sienna Ree or Thane. I doubt that, but that would be super cool.
Dude, I'm going to bust out my big guns now.
Oh boy.
All right, so for shits and giggles, let's see. Let's get Nien Nunb back.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah, sure.
Radis, really tying into the whole Rogue One thing as well.
Need Radis.
Yeah. And the big one, which would be really cool, because get the impression he's maybe a bit older than Luke, which in this era puts him at like early 20s, mid 20s, possibly latest 30s. Lor San Tekka. Boom. Get him somewhat involved with Ezra and Kanan, or maybe Ezra and Kanan are the reason why he joins the Order and the Church or the Wills of the Force. You know, like maybe his homeland is Lothal. You know.
Look, you know, I've said I want more Lor San Tekka. I think there's a lot of stories to be told through that guy. I don't know if they have the time. I mean, I feel like you just can't just gloss over him. Maybe you can. I don't know. I don't do these shows.
You know what it really boils down to? Is that Ezra and Kanan can't be forgotten in the sands of time. And they need to be recognized and recorded within the journals of the Wills. At one point, someone's going to have to do that and know of them.
Why? You'd hope so. It'd be an awful waste if those two Jedi just all went for naught. But how could they, right? Like, the rebellion lives on, and they were known members of the rebellion. Their names have to resonate within the rebellion. Somewhere somebody's remembered Kanan and Ezra. No question about that. Like, I'm sure Luke gets there at some point and goes, damn it, there were Jedi here in the rebellion a couple years before me? What happened? Where'd they go?
Dude, they're going to be held... they should be held... Whatever happens in this season, I hope they're held in really high regard.
Like, if barring death, I don't know if either of them or both or none, but if they live... Or if the idea of them living is in our minds, I'd like for there to be a story that comes out in a comic book or a novel of Luke going, when I was part of the rebellion, things were so crazy, but I kept hearing talk of this Phoenix Squadron and this Ghost crew, and there were two Jedi with that crew. There was some big battle on Lothal or something or whatever, and then nobody heard from those two Jedi anymore. Nobody knows their fate. I have to go find them.
I got you there.
I would love to see Luke trying to track down Kanan or Ezra. Presuming
not
they
only
don't
that,
die.
I think their story ends at this. I don't know how, but again, the direction we've been going, this is really controversial. But the fact that Ezra is able to communicate with the wolves. The whole Convery wolf thing, maybe there's life after death through being in an altered presence or being an altered being. I don't know. like maybe they discover that by the end of that. So the viewer says like, oh, wow, that's like the pack of wolves is like Ahsoka, or obviously that's not the case, or like Ezra and Kanan, you know? Like we know as a viewer when we see these animals, oh, wow, it's them, you know? Like they figured it out.
Yeah. All right, anybody else on your list? I mean, you said Radis. I'm going to say Akbar. I'd love to see Akbar.
Yeah. Akbar was there too, but I went Radis over just because, you know.
Well, I mean, yeah, Radis makes more sense.
Yeah.
Given the time frame.
Fight.
But Akbar would be cool, man. They have to have Akbar or Radis. You got to have
or
one
both.
of those two. I mean, I'm not going to complain if they do both.
It'd be cool if they got both of them in there and then being like kind of like pretty different people or Mon Calamari and kind of butting heads a bit.
I think they both like to fight, though.
I like to fight.
All right, Katie, is that enough cameos for you? We packed in a lot of cameos for a very short season. Obviously, not all those are going to work out, but hopefully a couple pan out. All right, guys.
I hope her presumption as well of Cassian and K2 come to fruition as well. Like that was kind of something left on the bone there too. Like, you know, K2's conversion to the rebellion as well as Cassian being a Fulcrum agent.
Well, did you pick up the Cassian and K2 one shot? And more importantly, did you read it?
I picked it up. I did not read it.
I don't know exactly when it takes place, but again, it could be a timeline thing. Where does this fit? Like, is K2 with Cassian at this point in Rebels? And if so,
I think so. From what I've heard, he had him like 2-3 years, from what I remember, anyhow.
All right, then it probably makes sense that they're in Rebels. So yeah, I would love to see these two in Rebels. I mean, don't forget, like, what's the name of that droid, that assassin droid from season 3?
Well, I remember. And then Dave Filoni said, had I seen the pictures, I kind of probably would have tied that in together, you know?
Yeah, he would have made that one of those K2 droids. So maybe he's corrected that course in season 4.
But even what he did there was so perfect, man. It reminds you of that classic Star Wars shot of, it's like a triangle, and that like it almost looks like the robot from Metropolis walking in a, you know what I mean? It's like this really old image.
No, it was the droid from yeah. It was an old C-3PO concept based on that old school like 1930s movie.
Yeah. So it really looked like that, you know. So that was kind of cool throwback.
Totally. All right, Katie, thank you. Anybody else want to throw in some suggestions for cameos that we've not yet
seriously.
said?
Yeah.
Love to hear them. All right, Dan Solo is back at Star Wars Sucker here, is what his question is for the week. My feeling is that the canon has got a bit messy, and there have been many opportunities missed. I would go back and redo The Force Awakens and tie everything in more cohesively. If you had the opportunity to relay canon, where would you go back? Where would you go back to? This can include the OT. Also, possibly an interesting one to think about. Where do you think Lucasfilm would go back to if they would at all? Thanks and have a great show, Dan Solo. Thanks, Dan. Like, this is a toughie. This is a tough question.
It really is.
Like when Dan says like things getting messy, for me that means discrepancies and contradictions and breaks in continuity. And for like my gold standard now is Yoda's lightsaber. You know, in the locations book versus the Darth Vader book. And like Wesley has like a running list of
Exactly. I was just gonna say that Wesley's got like this list of, I think he's trying to do 100 things.
Yeah, I mean there's probably more, but yeah, Wesley's got the list of like breaks in continuity. Like that for me is messy. I think Dan went on later just to go deeper into his question. Had given some more depth to his question about like the Bendu and all these different facets of the Force now. Like things have really splintered off in all kinds of crazy directions since, you know, I guess ever since the prequels came around. What do you think, Corey? Where has this gotten a little bit too much for you?
Well, I think I know what he means in the sense that there's a lot of things that like are up in the air, but at the same time, like, that's kind of the way they need to keep it to be able to continue the story. It's like the tumbling saber kind of, it's like they're bobbling something as they go. No, you can't just catch it and it stops, So they're kind of just running with it in a way.
Well, yeah, I think what he's really talking about is that there's so many platforms now, and so many characters, and so many concepts, and so many major storylines going on that it's really hard to keep up as fans on this side of the fence, but also being creators on the other side. It's probably hard to keep a lid on things. Like, is there too much going on?
Oh yeah, there's too much going on for sure. Like I think a certain point of view book points that out in the sense that there's how many stories in that book?
40?
That's what I thought. So
yeah, 40
Pablo
for the 40th anniversary.
There you go. So Pablo had mentioned something along the lines of, he didn't say which stories or whatever, but he's like, they're just stories. Like, don't start getting up on this canon thing. Like, maybe some things are canon, maybe some things aren't. It's totally up in the air for them. They're at this point, they can't write themselves into a corner, like you had said, Especially when it comes to the Force too, they got to be really careful about how they write that kind of thing.
I guess, yeah, but you know what? I hate that, and that's a me thing, and I'm willing to get shot arrows at for my stance on this. But I think maybe Wesley also feels the same way. Maybe he doesn't, but I can't stand the idea of, well, maybe this is canon, maybe it's not.
No, I don't like it all that much either, because it's like a fail-safe for them. Well, we need to do this moving forward, so that doesn't really count. It's like when you're reading the story, you're going to be like, granted, some things I guess just don't matter, and I hope they leave it in that regard. But if it's a big thing, then you're like what the heck? Like honestly, what?
I think some things will be obvious. You'll be able to tell that this is BS. But other things, you're gonna be like, well, can I rely on this or not? Like, should I apply this knowledge to my understanding of that character or this situation or storyline? You might not ever know. I don't like that. I don't want to waste my time reading stuff that doesn't count. That's why I don't read. That's why I stopped reading Legends, and it's why I'm like, I'll never pick up a Legends book. I
wouldn't limit yourself like that in the sense that these are just short stories, so that they could still be great, fun stories. But...
Oh yeah, I'm sure some of them are going to be so cool, like funny or cute or touching or whatever.
But I think a lot of that is also Pablo too, being like, because he's the canon guy, right? Pablo. Everyone's asking him questions all the time, so it's just like, hey guys, take it with a grain of salt, okay? Like, back off.
Stop bothering me. Well, so in another message, Dan gave the example of the Force, Bendu, Chosen One, midi-chlorians, like things just starting to get about the Force specifically, just starting to get unwieldy. And then I'll add to that like the Mortis arc and the Night Sisters and Force Priestesses, all from the Clone Wars. Things have gotten a little wild on that front.
Well, yeah, it's so much bigger than what we know. It's like they've opened doors that they haven't closed. So everything's kind of up in the air.
And granted, a lot of these things, like all this stuff from the Clone Wars, all out of Lucas's brain. So if that's what he wanted to do, thumbs up to you, George. Power to you.
You know what's interesting about that, Kyle? Is that the Clone Wars, the Mortis arc was filmed in, I think, 2010, something like that. After after the whole prophecy thing. So, you know what I mean? He tied the prophecy into there too. Like, I'm sure he was trying to work around that at that point.
I don't know.
Room for interpretation.
I don't think so. I don't know, but like, I guess another way to look at it is that we're still so early in this new era of Star Wars that they have all the time in the world to bring these things together in relevant ways and develop them further or make them more all cohesive together. Or maybe things like the Night Sisters, maybe we never touch on them again and they just get lost to history. And then the things that matter rise to the top. those things get tied together and all these other things just kind of just drift away.
Yeah, for the most part, I have the feeling that it's going to be anything Force pertinent, Jedi, stuff like that. They should probably stick close to the heart of things. Like, that's at the heart of this franchise. But, you know, if it's something like, well, you know, Jango wore blue armor at this point, and now he's clearly wearing, like, orange or whatever, you know, like, that, who cares? I really don't care about that. But, again, they don't want to write themselves into a corner, and that's really all I got to say about that. So having 40 stories in one book, again, I'm sure they've said you can't do this, or that. But in the same regard, there's probably going to be things that down the line will end up contradicting each other, and you know, they can be like, hey, like, it's just a story. Relax.
Pretty much. That's kind of the thing. Like, it's just enjoy the story. That's what they want us to do. Just read the story, enjoy the writer's work, put the book down, and go on with your life. That's what they want.
Wait, John Hamm isn't Maori.
No, don't go there again. So one thing I do agree with Dan on is that Lucasfilm would certainly have loved an opportunity to do more movies with the big three in their prime. Like, Luke is a full-blown Jedi in his 30s or 40s, where you could have had him like at the peak of his powers, and Han and Leia established as galactic leaders and balancing those roles as being with being young parents. Like, I wonder what they would have done with Luke as a Jedi Master had they done episodes 7 to 9 with a much younger Mark Hamill. Like, it would look totally different than what we've got now.
Yeah, it almost come to the culmination of it coming to an end again, with the culmination being Kylo escaping.
Yeah, I think if Lucasfilm could alter the fabric of space and time, they would send things back or make it so that they could do episodes 7, 8, and 9 with a younger Mark Hamill.
At least leave a hint or a clue to it. Or, like, maybe even well, that's true. He did interviews saying that he had planned something for, like, 2012 or whatever, which is really cool. But the way Jedi ends, it's all wrapped up in a nice little bow, to be honest.
Yeah, he had to wrap it up just in case he never revisits. Anyway, I think to Dan's point, that, like, that big 30-year gap between episode 6 and 7, it opens the chances for, like, a lot of other stories. But I think to Dan's concern, are they going to feel coherent? And I talked about this earlier in the show. I'd say so far most of the new canon books, like, they've held very little weight in the overall arc narrative of the galactic story. Like, I hope we don't fill in the gaps of this 30-year period with watered down stories that don't offer very much. Like, Aftermath, like we talked about before, it's like 1,000+ pages, and the whole thing is kind of forgettable to me. Like, part 3 was good, and it had some fun characters and some good action, but I'm far from alone in saying that it really didn't hit home, considering the investment that people put into it, both monetarily and time-wise, reading these things. Like, I was expecting a lot more. Like, they teased Jakku, and what did Palpatine have in store? I thought we were going to get something earth-shattering. But it was, whatever. An observatory looking out into unknown space.
That's another thing, too, in Battlefront. You get to go into the unknown regions, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, great. Perfect. I mean, it kind of links up to Aftermath in that way, which is nice. And this is real, like, really multi-platform, long-form storytelling. Which, I guess, it's kind of cool, but it's kind of deflating to read over 1,000 pages and go, at the end of it.
That doesn't make sense. Wait, but Luke said this. Yoda said that.
Like, Bloodline was good. It was actually really good. And I think it's the most useful book in terms of the new canon. And again, Lost Stars was good, and for the perspective that it offered, but I don't know that it offers new information.
I got you.
Anyway, I feel like we've kind of wandered off track from Dan's question. Like, is there anything you would want to go back on and redo, just so that it kind of plays out a little differently and makes things a little tighter?
Yeah, well, I would take one thing out. I've said it before in the past, a while ago, but I think the whole political trade faction separatist thing, replace that with some, again, you gotta get some politics in there, but they could have got it in there with more like Black Sun, underground mafia. It could have been a little more hardcore in that regard, where the players involved weren't such like pushover puppets.
I don't know. I'm going to disagree on that. I think it would have made for cooler action, but I think part of the point of the prequels is how you split a unified democracy and have the politics of the whole thing go down the crapper.
Yeah, well, they use the Trade Federation to do that, but instead of using the Trade Federation, use like a mafia type that kind of infiltrates its way into the system and just breaks it down from the inside, kind of,
I suppose there's a way to do that, but I think Lucas was trying to really play closer to home with our world and how our political landscapes can be completely muddied the way Palpatine kind of sucked everybody in.
Well, either way, that took me out of the film a lot. The whole trade separatists, like the characters, like there was something there that I think could have been tweaked in the sense where it could have made it more interesting to the viewer, especially first-time viewers.
Maybe. Though again, it's the politics of Star Wars is something that people are kind of rallying around these days. Saying, no, don't run away from it. Like, lean into it a little bit. Give us some more of that.
No, that's fine too, but there was just it's a galactic war. It could have been a little more epic.
A little more epic.
The way it began, like, I don't know. Like, I just don't see the way the teams on both sides, they could have changed that part up a bit where it was like, man, the techno army is, like, they could have been like a lot cooler characters. Like, yeah, this is like, what's his name? Who's the most famous gangster there? I can't believe I don't remember this. But like gangsters, I see seeing like controlling government in a way, and in that regard, it could have been a little more dark.
But that's it. Palpatine was the gangster controlling the government.
Yeah, but the gangster controlling the gangsters, like, that makes it even better. Like, Palpatine's just like so badass. It's like everyone that he's going against, they all seem like so weak and be like when the gun rays get smoked at the end by Anakin, they're like, Meh! They're running like little girls,
What's wrong? Have you ever seen Harley run? Kid can fly, man.
Dude, your kid's awesome like that. She got good balance.
Boy, if I could, I'd probably write out midi-chlorians. I don't have a problem with them per se, but I would if given the chance, I would write them out.
I have to agree with you there. Like I've always said this in the past, I like the quantification of force usage in that regard, but midi-chlorians are just such a weird concept that it's not necessary. Like, you could have still showed the sense that when you look at Anakin in that bubble compared to like Yoda, like, here's Yoda, here's Anakin's potential. They could have still showed that without having been like, well, there's these organisms and cells within you that are more abundant than someone else.
Like, I find the concept pretty benign. Like, I don't find it hurts, but I don't think it helped. And that's why I'd get rid of it.
Well, that's why they haven't mentioned it really too much more since.
Yeah, in the OT, I don't know. I don't know if I would change anything about that. for Jedi, I know I would spend a whole lot less time in the first act on Tatooine. Half the movie on Tatooine, I thought that was way too long, way too slow.
I gotcha. But it started us off. We loved it. Got Tusken Raiders out of it.
No, I'm talking about Return of the Jedi.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah, it was a different aspect of that. Everything had come full circle at that point. We started there, we're ending there. Like look at the change in Luke coming back there.
No, I know, I get it, but like it was like 45, 50 minutes on Tatooine. I thought it was just way too long.
Oh, that is kind of long now that you mention it.
I would have definitely tightened that up, and we would have gotten more about Palpatine. Yeah, it just would have been grander stuff than just gangster Jabba the Hutt. All right, Dan. I don't know if we answered your question. I hope so, but I know what you mean. It's getting a little bit unwieldy. But we thank you for the question, and we wrap things up again with Jeff, Mr. CantoCast himself, who says, "Hey guys, hope you two are having a wonderful weekend. Here is my question for this week. I don't like to talk about real-life politics, but your friendly neighbors to the south have a slight problem. We have a crazy person in charge. You could say we have Emperor Palpatine running things. Anyway, my question is, who from the Star Wars universe could help us out down here? Can't wait to hear your advice, because we all know anyone would do a better job. You guys are awesome. Talk to you soon." Corey, do you have any advice for our friends to the south?
I feel for you, bro, because it's not only your problem, it's honestly a global problem. Like, we're your neighbors to the north, and we feel it, bro. Like, when it happened, anyway, whatever. I get sick to my stomach sometimes. Give me an ulcer, goddammit. But I don't want to go with the, this for you, Rob, low-hanging fruit. I'm going to exclude politicians, because Mon Mothma and Leia would bitch slap this guy right the heck out of office. Like, literally. So, I mean, first of all, I want to say almost pretty much anyone, but let's start with Jabba.
That doesn't make things better.
Jabba's better.
You really think so?
Yeah, because he's like the mafioso. At least he's got some kind of level of respect. You know what I mean?
I don't know that he does.
Either way, it's better. How about even a Gamorrean guard? That's on my list.
Oh my god. See the way I look at it is that I don't liken 45 to Palpatine. Because Palpatine thinks. He thinks clearly, and he's a master strategizer. That's not what number 45 does. He's impulsive and petulant. He's everything that Palpatine's not. Except for the, selfishly evil part. Yeah, one plans long term, and the other just says what's in his brain at that moment. I would say Putin is your Palpatine, and Trump is more like Dooku, sort of the disillusioned puppet. And like the parallels are there. They're both rich, old, and brash. So the problem is, you need someone to take care of Dooku. And the real Palpatine is somebody else's problem. That's one that's not going away anytime soon. But deal with Dooku. I mean, he's still a pretty big fish. So who deals with Dooku? I don't know. Like, Anakin relieved him of his duties, but that only helped bring Palpatine's plan to fruition quicker. So you need, and like you said, Corey, it's Mon Mothma and Leia would just, not only would they bitch slap him, but they would totally talk him down.
Get all of them in there, man. Like, who else can be female in that crew? Hera. But at least, no, Mon Mothma and Leia are perfect just because they're diplomatic, really, Like Sabine, those girls, they might kind of lose it.
Well, they'd kick his ass. Like, physically beat him up.
Representative-wise, face-wise, bro, your savior, Lando Calrissian.
Just go all bro on him.
For sure. He's guys, gotta unify.
Yeah. Lando could be like, well, it could have been like the Steve Bannon to save us all.
That's it. Put a little love in your heart.
I like that. Lando could have, yeah. That's as good a choice as any. Maybe Bail Organa.
Oh, bro, of course. But like I said, I excluded all politicians because all politicians from Star Wars.
Mothma.
But I said I'm excluding them. I had to give them props, but you throw Bail in that lot as well for sure. Any of these guys, they're gonna come to Earth and be like, "All right, some major changes happening."
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the way I see it, Jeff. You can't look at 45 as Palpatine.
I agree with you there too, because man,
the real Palpatine is over there on the other side. All right, I'm at the end of the line here. I think we're done. Jeffrey, thank you, sir.
Bro.
And again, a big thanks to Ads, Bradley, Nathan, Dan, Katie, and the aforementioned Jeff. Thank you guys so much. And everybody, I'm curious to hear from all of you on on all the things we talked about today. But what do you want to see next in animation? What do you think of that Rebels poster? What do you think about some cameos that we're going to get? Let's keep talking about this stuff. Yeah, there you go. Corey, anything? Any parting words?
Well, just want to say I love you, bro.
Oh,
you're awesome. Our listeners are awesome, and
our friends. They're friends. They're not listeners. They're people.
Dude, it's so true. Honestly, like I it's so hard to describe. Like I try to explain it to my wife sometimes. Like, man, like my friend. She's like, you never met them. I'm like, but you don't know how I feel inside. Back off. Step off. But honestly, hit me up on my email anytime at withaz@tumblingsaber.com. That's with a double E. But I really want to hear from you all the time, anytime. Shoot some gifts at me at choprules.with.a.z.
There you go. So our powerful friends this week, I don't know what we're doing this week. I'll be honest with you. We could do some Journals of the Willing action, but Steve's a busy guy. He's getting married in a few days, so he might be a little too busy. So I don't know. Are we gonna crank out another Sith Disturbers? Only time will tell. Yeah. But in the meantime, if you like this podcast and you haven't become a powerful friend yet, it's now time. It's a new month, and no better time to go to patreon.com/tumblingsaber and become a powerful friend. And that gets you eligible for our monthly prize draws, exclusive podcasts, early access to some other podcasts, a newsletter that's coming out, or may actually have come out by the time you hear this. And if that's not in the cards for you, then please head over to iTunes, leave us a review, or, this is a new one, consider telling one of your Star Wars loving friends about our show, how much fun it is to listen to our show, and how much better their life will get as a result to listening to and subscribing to our show.
So, especially if you're Canadian too. Like, I don't want to exclude anyone, but man, it's surprising sometimes.
Well, how few knuckleheads are on the Star Wars wagon here?
Yeah, well, you're able to track stats, and it's not like we go over it all that much but from what I gather, it's like, I don't know, man, it's hard. Like locally.
It's hard, yeah. There you go. So that's it. There's a bunch of ways you can help us. By Patreon, by an iTunes review, or by referring a friend to our show. That's 3 easy ways to help us. And in the meantime, between shows, if you're looking for more great Star Wars content, you should go look at our friends at StarWarsCommonwealth.com. And you've got some great podcasts from Talk Star Wars, from the Nerd Room, from Gen X-Wing, the Rogue Squadron, San Diego Sabers, and the Skyhoppers. Great podcasts, one and all. And I'm sure whatever it is you like about Star Wars, that itch will get scratched over at StarWarsCommonwealth.com. And again, you can find me at Tumbling Saber on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Love to chat with you there. And we'll catch up with you again later this week, my powerful friends. I just don't know what form that is going to take yet, but be a little surprise for you come this Powerful Friends Friday. So thanks once again for listening. Have a great week, and we will... Oh, God, Corey. Next week, we're going to be talking about a Last Jedi trailer.
This is true.
It's going to be sizzling hot, plausibly live podcasting next week. All right, everybody. Have yourselves a great week. We will talk to you later.
Self-redeeming qualities, have they hindered me? Hindering, was I blind to see? Blind to see that you needed me, all of me. Well, you were there for me. I will be there too, watching, listening. Every moment wanting all of you, and I believe I can save you, just don't let me go. And I can see I'll be waiting, always waiting, just don't let me go. Just don't let me go. Time goes on and I'm questioning all the things I've seen, crazy things I've seen as I'm watching you walking away from